Oh, are you saying I asked too early? Should I wait for 2 more years of your games, then chop your head off directly? Duanmukin said coldly. Lin Zaiasu smiled. In that case, I should thank you for your reminder. But please rest assured, miss, I always keep my word and achieve my goals. When the time comes, the target will be met, and before that, whether it's the Yuan Master or you, please be patient. Do you already have a plan? Seeing my leisurely demeanor, you should know, the answer is one word, yes. When did you plan this? Duanmukin squinted her eyes. Before reaching up to Kangyuan, I dared to gamble with Brother Liu for a month, went to that place. What do you think I did that for? Duanmukan was stunned. His bet with Kangyuan Liu already told his father. Today he spoke openly, showing his sincerity. But, before you entered Kangyuan, did you already anticipate running into me and needing a lamp to save your life? Lin Zaiasu lightly raised his hand, touching his forehead. I am indeed extremely intelligent and incredibly handsome, but I am not immortal. How could I have known I would encounter you at Kangyuan? However, after years of wandering the Jianghu, I've developed a habit of keeping a few cards up my sleeve. Extremely intelligent, incredibly handsome. Oh please. Duanmukin ignored these shameless words, facing the main topic directly. You've already discovered that lamp. Just a bit of a clue. When can you get it? There might be some changes along the way. Lin Zaiasu said, Miss, would you please give me your contact info? If I get the lamp or if there's any mishap during acquiring it, I'll contact you immediately. This request isn't excessive. It's necessary. Emperor Kun's kindling lamp. All major towering beams in the desolate ancient realm want it. This thing can kill Jai-san. It can even contend with Kangyuan. Not to mention Heart Dao has shown signs of rebellion against Kangyuan. The sect master of the three major sects, Heavenly Capital, Underworld, Xuanwang, if given the chance to obtain the Emperor's lamp, would they hesitate for even a second? Facing these super behemoths, this Marquis Zui has no defense. Only Kangyuan can thwart those giants targeting the lamp. Duanmukin had many thoughts running through her mind. A jade pendant flew from her hand. Lin Zaiasu caught it with a smile. Miss Duanmu, haven't you found the world fascinating? Duanmuken glanced at him. What do you mean? Back when you lay in your coffin, you probably cursed my ancestors for generations. Who would have thought there'd be today? What's so special about today? Duanmuken asked with a sidelong glance. Lin Zaiasu replied, Today, you and I sit face to face, drinking tea. In the long, lonely nights ahead, you can take out this thing and chat to relieve boredom. Such companionship is rare. Duanmuken bit down slowly. I see, you need a good thrashing. Come on. She stood up, emanating an intimidating aura. With a swish, a figure descended from the sky, landing between the two. It was He Yuan Fairy. He Yuan Fairy gently shook her head. Why the need for this? You were having a good chat. A good chat, which I of yours saw us chatting well, Duanmuken growled. This scoundrel has been provoking my limits. Didn't you notice, senior sister? All right, have a cup of tea, calm down, He Yuan Fairy said with a smile. This is the 1 meal clear tea I just roasted. Exactly, Lin Zaiasu said. Look at senior sister He Yuan's genteel elegance. That's the true immortal's grace. While you laying in a coffin is the only time you look decent. My heavens! He Yuan Fairy's first reaction was to steady the tea table. She had a feeling her junior sister might really lose her temper this time. However, surprisingly, Duanmukin didn't lose her temper. She sat down and raised her teacup. Emu? What's going on? Was she awakened by the insults? Duanmukin raised her teacup lightly, waiting for me to get angry, right? I'm very happy. Want to know why? Why? Duanmukin said, because some people through deceitful tricks ended up with a marquis title which they're about to lose. That's called karma. Lin Zaiasu frowned. What do you mean? It means, the emperor who favored you most, your greatest support, is gone. With the new emperor ascending the throne, there'll likely be a purge, and your third-rank official, your Marquis Zui, probably won't hold. Lin Zaiasu's expression changed abruptly. He Yuan Fairy's face changed too. The great Wilderness Dynasty's emperor passed away. Yes, he passed away over a month ago. Lin Zaiasu stood tall. He Yuan Fairy, please open the passage, I wish to return. All right. He Yuan Fairy raised her hand, and a butterfly from a strange tree in the pavilion flapped its wings, lifting a branch straight into the sky. With a soft pop, the barrier was opened. Lin Zaiasu soared through, exiting the barrier. Duanmuken furrowed her brows. Is being a petty marquis, a third-rank official, really important to him? From her perspective, worldly titles were clearly insignificant. Yet Lin Ziaosu's reaction was intense. She found it puzzling. Yuan Fairy gently shook her head. Even I don't fully understand. Maybe his concern isn't about the titles themselves. The place where Lin Ziaosu appeared was Dawang City. Above West Mountain, peach blossoms were abundant. On the streets, light garments fluttered. In the human world, it was already May. When I left Beijing that day, it was just early spring. Now it had already become midsummer. Truly, time flows like a river. Lin Ziaosu's figure transformed into flowing water, almost appearing in the Marquis mansion with just a turn. His figure settled, and Zio Hong caught sight of him, letting out a gasp. The steward quickly approached and knelt. My lord, you have not returned for months. Major events have occurred frequently in Beijing. This old servant was at a loss, my lord. You have finally returned. The voice choked with emotion. Speak, what major events? Lin Ziaosu asked. My lord is unaware. During these days, I have been outside the mundane world, knowing nothing of worldly affairs. Please tell me. The steward accompanied him to the backyard, recounting the major events along the way. The emperor suddenly passed away last month. No one knows why he died. Of the princes, only one remains, Prince Hong Yang, who logically succeeded to the throne. 10 days ago, he was formally enthroned. After the new emperor ascended, a batch after another of court ministers was replaced. Even the previous emperor's commander of the Forbidden Army, Huo Gang, was replaced. The steward was very worried about his lord, the Marquis. Currently, His Majesty has not sent anyone to the Marquis mansion, but rumors are flying in the marketplace. Some say that the new emperor holds ideas different from the previous emperor and is particularly friendly towards the cultivation sect, while our Marquis built his fortune on suppressing the cultivation sect, which looks bleak for the future. During the conversation, Lin Ziaosu stood on the platform outside the bedroom. His gaze turned towards the neighboring mansion. The neighboring Prince Yun mansion was overgrown with weeds, long uninhabited. He raised his hand slightly, interrupting the steward's trembling recount of marketplace rumors. You say, when the previous emperor passed, only Prince Yun remained. Yes, replied the steward. When my lord left Beijing, Prince Yun, Prince Zai, Prince An, Prince Bei, and King Kaoshan were all present. Who would have thought that within just a month and a half, they all fell, leaving only Prince An. As a result, when the emperor passed, there were no hiccups and Prince An smoothly succeeded. His voice fell to a whisper. Because of this affair, turmoil had already erupted in Beijing. It's no wonder people have thoughts. The crux of the matter creates vast room for imagination. The death of one prince could provoke rumors that last for years, let alone the death of 4 princes within just a month and a half. And thereafter, in less than a month, the previous emperor passed away, leaving one lone seedling to succeed. In the Great Wilderness Dynasty and others, such situations were quite rare. This nearly publicly announced to the world that this new emperor was meticulously cultivated by the Wandu sect. But do you dare to speak? Though no one dares to say it, inside the Marquis mansion, it was already gloomy with worry. Everyone understood that their Marquis was essentially tied to the previous emperor, and every step of his ascent was related to the previous emperor's favor. He was also in the same boat as the neighboring Prince Yun, who died under the hands of the Wandu sect. The previous emperor was likely poisoned by Wandu sect. Not to mention Prince Yun next door, exterminated by Wandu sect is blatantly apparent. That Prince Yun, meticulously cultivated by Wandu sect, ascending the throne, could not possibly be good for the Marquis. Nothing was done prior because the Marquis was out and had not returned. Now that he is back, the next moment perhaps, the imperial army would surround the mansion, with everyone within to be executed. These terrifying speculations had already spread throughout Beijing, with many gloating and spreading it around. Those people, some are from mental path, others lost interest when he went to Jiangnan. Anyway, Lin Ziaosu had disrupted the vested interests of many upon entering this world, thus there were many rejoicing in his misfortune. Some had already fled from the Marquis mansion. 3 of them. Not many, but the message sent by this was very frightening. A need to know, this Marquis Zui, in treating those under his household, would catch no fault even under the closest scrutiny. Truly treating subordinates like family. If it weren't for an enormous crisis upon them, who would leave him? Suddenly little Qing hurried over. My lord, there are guests visiting. The steward suddenly shivered. At this time, he feared visitors. But Lin Ziyasu's eyes lit up. Invite them over. As soon as the three words fell, he turned and entered the bedroom. A woman, her face veiled with light gauze, gracefully passed through the outer courtyard, walked through 3 long corridors, and entered Lin Ziyasu's bedroom. Lin Ziyasu gently waved his hand. Kinger, you should leave too. Kinger left. Lin Ziyasu waved his hand, the door closed, and he gently stretched out his hand to embrace the veiled woman. The woman's gaze lifted. This embrace means the bedroom is sealed again. Yes, my dear Chang Yi. The visitor was Chang Yi. I've been followed this time, Chang Yi spoke, so we'd better quickly get to the point and end the meeting within 15 minutes. All right, let's get started now, Lin Ziyasu said. Were the emperor and the 3 princes killed by Wandu sect? Yes. Lin Ziyasu was slightly surprised. It truly was. Chang Yi gently exhaled. According to your plan, Wandu sect needs to stop after eliminating Prince Yun. You calculated that Heart Dao would inevitably use Wandu sect's methods to push this matter forward, and then you found ironclad evidence of Heart Dao murdering the emperor, forming a frontal attack on Heart Dao by Great Wilderness. I followed your arrangement and persuaded the old witch of 10,000 poison. Initially, she was convinced, and everything was moving in the direction we expected. But someone suddenly appeared. It's this person who altered the course of events. Who is it? A person wearing light gauze, with a seductive figure, likely female. Although only veiled, I couldn't see anything clearly from a distance. It felt like gazing at the Milky Way. I probed her reality, only finding out a nickname, probably not a nickname. Half-Tao Lord of Heavenly Face, Chang Yi said. This person spoke with Li Xinyu in a secret room for 6 hours, after which Li Xinyu completely overturned previous decisions and boldly acted to kill 1 emperor and 3 princes. Half-Tao Lord of Heavenly Face, so it's her. Lin Ziyasu gently exhaled. Do you know her? This person was the cherished sweetheart of the reincarnation Tao master Song Yilin 6,000 years ago. It was because of her that the reincarnation Tao lost the reincarnation seal, thereby falling from Tao to sect. With the loss of the reincarnation seal, Heart Dao was able to rise from sect to Tao. Chang Yi sighed. What a stunningly talented and seasoned elder. 6,000 years ago she stirred up storms, orchestrated this grand event, and today, spanning 6,000 years, she sabotaged our plan. She rewrote the plan, yet the result aligns with my intentions. Our plan hasn't necessarily failed, said Lin Ziyasu. Chang Yi nodded. What we originally wanted was the death of the emperor and the extinction of the princes, which was her goal too. From the plan's perspective, it hasn't failed, but objectively, Great Wilderness has fallen into her control. I'll manage Great Wilderness, Lin Ziyasu said. You on your side prepare to implement a truly extreme strategy. How to implement it? Chang Yi's eyes lit up. She belonged to Qianlong, and all her life she walked on the edge of various sly plots, yet at this moment she was clueless. Because Wandu sect and Heart Dao had already implemented cooperation at the highest level. Heart Dao Half-Tao leader, the second person in Heart Dao next to the Tao Lord, her master, Li Xinyu, the absolute leader of Wandu sect, the two had implemented cooperation. How to break it? But her little husband had prepared an extreme strategy. Who wouldn't anticipate his extreme strategy? Lin Ziyasu said, this move requires some time. You go find a place to stay in desolate capital. In no more than 7 days, I'll contact you. All right. The door opened. Lin Ziyasu gracefully bowed. Miss Yi's music theory is truly admirable, and I, Marquis, will look forward to seeing you again. Marquis Zui, you flatter me. The theory was just a sudden inspiration based on the Marquis's music, and today receiving your praise is a great comfort. She took her leave and departed. At the door of Lin Ziyasu's bedroom, he instructed little Qing, see Miss Yi off. In everyone's eyes, her visit was simply the girl having a sudden musical inspiration, and hurriedly came to discuss with the Marquis. In merely 15 minutes, nothing suspicious could have occurred. Seeing off Chang Yi, Lin Ziyasu sat cross-legged. In his sea of consciousness, 3 primordial spirits stood facing each other. Yes, 3 primordial spirits. No one imagined he would have 3 primordial spirits. Whence came these 3 primordial spirits? They came from Duanmukan. Duanmukan, during Lin's third attempt to snatch something, used her eyes to perform the star annihilation slash, intending to wipe out this annoying and reckless primordial spirit. It seemed she succeeded, because her slash successfully split Lin's primordial spirit into 2. However, what she hadn't anticipated was that Lin's primordial spirit didn't perish, but instead accidentally unlocked the most terrifying skill among the heavens: divine splitting technique. The divine splitting technique helped him greatly in his adventurous life, saving him multiple times. But it had always been just two primordial spirits, facing extreme pressures of tight schedules and heavy tasks. He indeed wanted to split one more, and tried, but whenever he decided, he felt a tremor from the spirit platform, knowing it was highly risky. The divine splitting technique, called a miracle on Earth, actually wasn't mysterious at all. The key to the success or failure of the divine splitting technique does not lie in the magic itself, but in the foundation. If the foundation is unstable, the primordial spirit born from it is akin to a glass bottle held together by a few broken strings, trembling precariously, unable to be protected, let alone divided. But if the foundation is stable, the primordial spirit born from it is like an iron ball hung by a sturdy cable. Hanging one is easy, hanging two is as steady as a mountain. However, hanging three is somewhat overloaded. He dared not try it easily. Nonetheless, what he wanted to do but was afraid to try was facilitated by Kang Yuan. Duanmuken suddenly appeared, engaging him in a fierce battle, employing four great divine powers without gaining an upper hand, and directly became incensed, once again manifesting the Star Annihilation Slash. Moreover, the Star Annihilation Slash at this moment was vastly different from the previous day. On the previous day, she hadn't fully awakened and could only use her eyes to manifest this god-slaying great divine power. But now, with 11 great divine powers fully integrated, she attacks with her finger, turning illusion into reality. Her attack power increased 100-fold, and then another 100-fold. Lin Zaiasu had no choice but to take a risk. But as he took the risk, he also kept a backup plan to prepare for potential failure. He had two primordial spirits. One faced Duanmuken's god-slaying great divine power, while the other infiltrated the time-space river. The primordial spirit on the front line split into two halves. He experienced once again the pain of his primordial spirit tearing apart, and truly felt the heavy pressure of hanging three iron balls. Luckily, his foundation was even more solid than expected. The three iron balls were successfully hung. From that moment on, his primordial spirit entered a brand new stage, with three elements God together. After 2 months of integration, it became truly stable. Currently, his three primordial spirits officially have their duties. One comprehends the yin-yang law. One comprehends the law of cause and effect. The other manages daily affairs. When the three primordial spirits touch heads, all the insights gained by each are shared among the three. However, one of the primordial spirits traversed the sea of consciousness and entered a mysterious zone. This zone contained a very tiny coffin. Inside the coffin, there was a time-space river. In the river, there was a black lotus. And an old man with black hair and white beard, Big Yellow. Big Yellow has passed immeasurable eons in the time-space river, with endless melancholy and loneliness unspoken, with no way to change it. When a person cannot make any changes over time, they can only accept the status quo. But this old man was extremely resilient, always feeling that his world-shaking and ghost-sweeping abilities being sealed in the time-space river were heaven's sorry oversight. So he kept persevering. Originally, he did not cultivate the space-time law. He took it up halfway and forcibly pushed the space law to the realm of forming the Tao fruit, without a physical body, using his primordial spirit to form the Tao fruit, which is truly bizarre. However, even though the space law was pushed to this stage, as he gazes upon the endless far shores of the time-space river, he still feels that his lifetime might be an unending ordeal. Suddenly, a figure appears on the banks of the time-space river. Big Yellow's eyes suddenly brighten. This lad finally came. A year has passed since the last exchange between them, and he finally reappeared. Today, he ought to tell him how he was able to move in and out of the time-space river back then, correct? Big Yellow, long time no see. Lin Zaiasu's voice twists and turns, entering his ears. Big Yellow says, "Not too long, just a year, lad. What do you wish to discuss today?" "I want to discuss how you emerged from the time-space river." Big Yellow's hair suddenly blew into disarray. I can emerge from the time-space river." "Theoretically, yes, but it's quite troublesome in practice. So, I'm considering whether it's necessary to fish you out, or whether you have any value to be fetched." If Big Yellow had a physical body, his heart would surely race to 100 beats. Even without a physical body, his entire primordial spirit quivered. Does this need consideration? My cultivation is heaven-piercing and earth-shattering. If I escape because of you, I will be your greatest support. Even if you ravage the Tiandu Saintess, Demon Realm Demoness, the Underworld Maiden, and make Bai Xuanwang's lawful wife all yours, I'll shield you all the way. My goodness! While others have saintesses, your Xuanwang sect has a lawful wife sect master. Your obsession with Xuanwang sect is extraordinarily exclusive. Lin Ziasu gets to the crux. So, your cultivation is Jai San. Jai San is nothing, Big Yellow replies. Back then, if I hadn't taken that step and suffered heavenly punishment, how could the damned bastard Bai Xuanwang take advantage of me? Lin Ziasu's eyes suddenly widen. Taking that step, suffering heavenly punishment, Bai Xuanwang seized his weakness to kill him. This makes complete sense. Could it be that this Big Yellow, who has accompanied him from beginning to end in his sea of consciousness, truly is a superpower? Big Yellow, I quite admire your boldness. However, you have no physical body. Even if you emerge, it would be hard to exert much power, I'm afraid. Afraid of what? Not afraid, Big Yellow says. I surely have no physical body, but where in this world exists no physical body, I can easily seize one Jai San body. You truly can seize the body of Jai San. Lin Ziasu squints his eyes, full of disbelief. Big Yellow gets angry. Who are you insulting, boy? In my prime, 10 Jai San were not my match. Though I've suffered great calamities now in the realm of the primordial spirit, which Jai San dares to face my edge. If you don't believe, bring a Jai San's primordial spirit here, and I will show him what it means to be the evil ancestor Jotian. Chapter 1001-732. One person changes the grand plan. Evil ancestor Jotian, Lin Ziasu's eyes lit up. Is that your title? Big Yellow sighed lightly. Kid, this is one of my trump cards. I've revealed it all and I don't want to play any more word traps with you. I don't know how many millennia have passed. I'm tired, exhausted, and don't want to play anymore. Name your terms. Lin Ziasu said a sentence. Can it be done? Absolutely possible, Big Yellow said. But kid, can you really free me from this damn time-space river? That's naturally possible too. Big Yellow looked at him. What level have you reached in space law? Tau Fruit. How many? Damn this old thing. You make it sound like you're asking about cabbages. 1. Being so young and having picked a Tau fruit is indeed impressive. But in my heart, I still feel chilled, because I know very well that a space law with only one Tau fruit is not enough to break through the time-space river. Lin Ziasu said, as you mentioned, this is the time-space river, not just the space river. Indeed, one space Tau fruit alone isn't enough to break through, but what about adding a time Tau fruit? Big Yellow's eyes shone. Time and space are inherently one, accomplishing and depending on each other, carrying each other, the cosmic law. Look at this paper. If there's nothing wrong with it, sign it. With a gentle wave of his hand, a white paper traversed the time-space river, accurately reaching Big Yellow's hand. Big Yellow's entire body trembled. Just the crossing of this paper was enough for him to trust Lin Ziasu's words. Because this was an external object shot from the other side of the time-space river, one that had been unknown for countless millennia. If a white paper can cross the time-space river, then naturally he can too. However, upon looking at the contents of this white paper, Big Yellow's entire body tensed. What's wrong? Lin Ziasu asked. Big Yellow slowly raised his head. You let me look at this paper, and if there's no problem, I'd sign it, but I see a significant problem. Really? Lin Ziasu smiled faintly. Yes, the law of cause and effect is the basis. Signing it makes it cause and effect. Little brother, we've met by fate. Is it really necessary to enslave me? At this moment, his words were very polite. No longer calling him kid, but little brother. Big Yellow, you and I met by fate indeed. In my heart, I regard you as family. After so many years of hard work and careful planning, I want to release you from this boundless time-space river. However, that's life in chaotic times. My benevolent heart can't afford it. Lin Ziasu said. But don't worry, Lin Ziasu, am a straightforward person. Commanding you to do utterly evil deeds is beyond me. Utterly evil deeds are my old trade. I'd be happy to do them. But if you make me become someone like Bai Xuanwang, a so-called good person, that's worse than killing me. Rest assured, the person I've arranged for you to possess is not a virtuous person. Compared to you, this evil ancestor, she's not much different. You'll dominate her sinful body effortlessly, without even needing to adjust your character. Then that's settled. Big Yellow laughed heartily and with a flick of his hand signed his name. He signed a single character, evil. After all, when forming a bond of cause and effect, a name is just a symbol. Whether he signed it as Big Yellow or even more plainly as a dog, the cause and effect would still hold. Lin Zaiasu smiled, lifted his hand slightly. The time-space river churned with waves. The Black Lotus followed the lighthouse's guidance, traversing through the endless rapids and dangers. Big Yellow finally reached the shore, sat atop a coffin, gazing into the distance. How many were the waves of the millennia? How many were the unresolved emotions? Lin Zaiasu slowly opened his eyes. Outside, footsteps approached. Marquis, the Imperial Palace, the Emperor's envoy has arrived, came the butler's voice from outside. Extreme tension. Utter chaos. Because the sword hanging over everyone's head in the Marquis mansion seemed to fall at this moment. The Marquis had just returned to the mansion, and not even 2 hours had passed, yet the Emperor's envoy had arrived. His Majesty, the newly crowned Emperor once called Prince N, was about to unsheath his sword against Marquis Zui. Lin Zaiasu stood up, and as he did, his casual clothes transformed into the style of Marquis' clothes, becoming Zuyi. He walked to the door, opened it, and saw 2 squads standing in the courtyard. 300 Forbidden Army. A squad of yellow-robed servants, numbering over 10. Lin Zaiasu stepped out boldly, and at the corner saw Zio Hong and Little Qing, hand in hand, with complex expressions, leaning against the wall, both unstable on their feet. Marquis, you should run, Zio Hong said softly. Really, Marquis, this servant thinks the Marquis should really run, Little Qing said. Don't worry, Lin Zaiasu lightly tapped the shoulders of the 2 women. Tell everyone not to panic. Maybe in 3 or 2 days, your Marquis might become a prince. The tension in the eyes of the 2 women vanished, and their tear-filled eyes lifted. Marquis, are you serious? What's serious? People should have dreams. What if they come true? Lin Zaiasu laughed heartily and walked past them. Turning past the front corridor, he glanced up. With that glance, the great commander of the Forbidden Army, He Xinju, hidden within the clouds, was suddenly startled. Could it be that he discovered me? Is it possible? I've prepared well, and with my unique bloodline at the pinnacle of one vow, even with invisibility technique alone, shouldn't even a second vessel be unable to discover it? Entering the courtyard, the yellow-robed servant smiled and bowed. Marquis, His Majesty invites you to the palace. Lin Zaiasu smiled. This Marquis has just returned to Beijing, hasn't even had 2 cups of hot tea, and His Majesty already knows. Chapter 1002-732. A single person alters the grand plan. This shows just how much your Majesty values the Marquis. The yellow-robed servant said, Marquis, please. Gong, please. Leaving the residence, they proceeded along Vermilion Bird Avenue towards the Imperial Palace. The Imperial Palace, Wenling Hall. The young Emperor Hong Yang sat at the highest position. Behind him was He Xinju. Your Majesty had already heard his transmission, and his eyes slightly flickered. In the hall, there were dozens of people. The 9 ministers were all present. 3 doctors were present, and over 20 third-rank high officials, all assistant ministers of the 9 departments. Besides them, there were a few others standing behind. Among them one was Lin Weiyang, currently holding the position of Deputy Hall Master of Xin Hall at Zhen Heaven Pavilion, which normally wouldn't qualify him to stand behind third-rank officials. However, he also held the position of Imperial Silver Envoy, one who could report directly to your Majesty as an Imperial Envoy. The newly appointed Prime Minister Li Lai was scrutinizing Song Lifu, the Minister of the Ministry of Justice, opposite him, a slight smile at the corner of his mouth. Truly unexpected that, after so many twists and turns, the position of Prime Minister ended up with him. This was truly thanks to the efforts of several people, such as Song Lifu, such as Su Lin, such as Lin Weiyang. They all worked together to remove the previous Prime Minister Chen Zhengdao and oust first-rank Dr. Zhou He. Otherwise, no matter how successful the mental path was, he wouldn't have had the chance to become this Prime Minister. This position as Prime Minister made him the most comfortable among all the Prime Ministers throughout history, because the little emperor before him was essentially a puppet of the mental path. The Prime Minister represented the interests of the mental path's heart Dao. Even the emperor had to listen to him. Song Lifu lowered his head, his heart full of chaos. Indeed, the wheel of fortune turns. This year it turned to Nave Valley. He was fully aware, sitting on the throne was a puppet of the mental path. The prime minister belonged to the mental path. A whole batch of new 9 ministers was rotated one after another, and the newly appointed ministers were essentially all from the mental path. The court had completely fallen into the hands of the mental path. He was a lone survivor. The mental path kept him not because they needed him, but because he was too clean in his work, leaving no handle for others to grab. In the current turbulent political scene, even the court needed to adhere to some rules, temporarily keeping him out of necessity, but sooner or later he would be swept out. He didn't want to stay in this suffocating court. Even one breath was a torment. However, he could not allow himself to become a scapegoat, or he would forever lose the opportunity to stand in the court. He would then be permanently ousted in this reform. He was unwilling. With 30 years of political experience, he stood firm, but would he see the turning point he hoped for? He was increasingly unable to see hope. There were a few others like him. The most typical was Lei Tianlin. Since the new emperor took the throne, Lei Tianlin claimed illness and hadn't attended court. He hadn't even appeared at the new emperor's enthronement ceremony. The high official in the court had long been dissatisfied with him, but Lei Tianlin himself was an expert of the Tao, overseeing Zhen Heaven Pavilion for hundreds of years, and no one dared to act rashly against him. Song Lifu couldn't manage this. Without such backing, he could only stew in the oil pot. Today, the person who sparked endless turmoil was finally coming. What kind of outcome would this bring? The person behind him counted as an exception among the people in the hall. Lin Weiyang's expression was calm. Yes, among everyone in the hall, only he truly appeared calm. The others were either expectant, nervous, or excited. Only Lin Weiyang showed no expression, as though attending some insignificant meeting. But this was just his emotional skill. No one knew that his feelings were actually extraordinarily complex. This kid finally saw the otherworld's golden hall for the first time. In this chaotic situation, could you still achieve something? The greater momentum was controlled by others. All lines were completely cut off. In terms of law and momentum, you had no connection. Overturning adversity is commonplace to the wise. But when the opponent's momentum tramples everything, and your side has nothing, overturning is just empty talk. However, he understood Lin Ziyasu well. This kid always had backup plans in his actions. Why was he daring to return to the capital today? As long as he dared to return, dared to enter the palace, he should have a thorough understanding of all the new emperor's arrangements. Then let's see how this young man from Otherworld, who had intrigued him in the modern city, would orchestrate his game. With the commander's voice a raspy crow call, Marquis Zui, third-rank Vice Minister Su Lin, audience with, echoing. The door to Wenling Hall slowly opened. A figure strode in snow-white clothes adorned with bells and cauldrons, in the Marquis' attire. Lin Ziyasu walked across the long red carpet, passing from the back row to the front row, past Lin Weiyang, past the third-rank Vice Minister zone, past the second-grade Minister zone, straight to the first-grade zone. He was a third-rank official, but also Marquis Zui. If he were a bit humble, he could stop at the third-rank zone. But today, he was evidently not very humble, directly approaching the first-grade zone, even surpassing Prime Minister Li Lai's steps. In terms of ceremonial law, actually, it wasn't a violation. Because as Marquis, he held an honorary rank, even as a nominal title, surpassing first rank. Generally, no one used this honorary rank to cause trouble for themselves, but today he used it. On the court, every inch was worth fighting for. This fight immediately made Prime Minister Li Lai's expression look quite displeased, because he sensitively detected an atmosphere of tension. Who in the hall wasn't astute? Everyone saw the peculiarity. Lin Weiyang's heartbeat finally accelerated. Beneath the high platform, a person stepped forward. Su Lin, kneel before your majesty for an audience. Chapter 1003-732. A grand plan changed for one man. Bonus chapter, please vote. It was the newly appointed chief eunuch. Lin Ziyasu's gaze fell on his face, cold and unyielding. The chief eunuch's expression suddenly darkened. Bold Su Lin, how dare you? Whoosh! With a sharp sound, an arm cut through the air, grabbed the chief eunuch by the neck, and dragged him off the high platform. With a thud, the chief eunuch was forced to his knees in front of Lin Ziyasu, and a crack echoed throughout the hall as the sound of breaking bones resounded. Everyone's eyes widened simultaneously. "How dare he?" Lin Zaiasu said coldly. "The late emperor once specially issued a decree to me, allowing me not to kneel before the king. Now the late emperor's body is not yet cold, and you, a vile slave, dare to go against the late emperor's decree and seek your own death." The entire hall was astonished. In the previous moment, Lin Zaiasu directly pulled the powerful chief eunuch off the high platform, already showing signs of rebellion. However, in the next moment, he spoke a single sentence. The situation took a drastic turn. The late emperor did indeed have a decree. It was a favor given specifically after the Marquis Zui won the Battle of Jiantai, securing the northern country. There were two core points to the favor. One was the unprecedented reward of 1,000,000 desert gold, and the other was granting him the privilege of not kneeling before the king. The 1,000,000 desert gold was a tangible reward. The privilege of not kneeling before the king was intangible. The tangible and the intangible seemed to bestow utmost favor upon him, but on a deeper level, it reflected the late emperor's helplessness at having nothing more to reward him with. Because he did not want to promote him further, or rather dared not promote him further, he could only use money to show favor, rely on an empty title for favor. Who would have thought that this seemingly trivial favor would lead to an unprecedented audacity in the great wilderness dynasty's history? What the chief eunuch meant to establish the new emperor's authority was seized upon by him, publicly causing the emperor great embarrassment. If he punished Lin Zaiasu, it meant admitting that his father had once uttered nonsense. If he did not punish Lin Zaiasu, it meant acknowledging the public slap Lin Zaiasu had delivered, forcing him to swallow his pride. All at once the emperor's mind, eager to suppress the Marquis Zui, was filled with turmoil. And Song Lifu and Lin Huayang's faces suddenly lit up. They did not glimpse a turning point but keenly sensed a signal that declared, "The visitor has hostile intentions." The Prime Minister Li Lai's eyes were firmly locked on Su Lin, and suddenly his heart raced. Because Su Lin's hand was closing in, the chief eunuch's face turned purple as he struggled desperately in his grasp. He was about to strangle the chief eunuch to death. My God, he intended to carry out the path to death he spoke of. Audacious, by the emperor's side, someone suddenly descended from the high platform. It was the commander of the Forbidden Army, He Xinju. He Xinju descended swiftly, as if the heavens were collapsing. He took a step and arrived in front of Lin Zaiasu, his palms suddenly raised. As the commander, his primary duty was to protect the king. Anyone who dared act wantonly before the king could be killed with a single blow. No matter what Lin Zaiasu said, or how reasonable it was, if he dared move, He Xinju had to take action to suppress him. And at this moment, Lin Zaiasu actually wanted to enact his so-called path to death before the emperor and actually strangle the chief eunuch. How could that be tolerated? Kill without mercy. However, Lin Zaiasu faced his blow, and also struck back with a blow. Boom! The two palms collided, and He Xinju was sent flying back, his face changed. On the high platform, a flash of golden light, a dragon's roar. The emperor stood up high, his face drastically changed. The golden glow of the imperial seal flew from his hand, causing the entire Wenling Hall's walls to tremble. The court ministers all bowed in unison. Swish! He Xinju drew his sword, the tip pointing directly at Lin Zaiasu. The 10 steps between him and Lin Zaiasu at that moment seemed like a vast galaxy. Su Lin, do you intend to rebel? He Xinju's voice was low. Lin Zaiasu gently raised his hand, allowing the chief eunuch to roll aside. He lowered his hands and bowed, "Greetings, your majesty." The golden dragon let out a soft roar, returning to the imperial seal. On the high platform, the emperor's face slightly softened, and his gaze slowly moved toward him. The ministers in the court all lifted their gaze simultaneously, exchanging glances. The suffocating tension eased, dropping 8 levels in intensity because of his bow. Chapter 1004-733, Imperial Edict, Marquis Zui to annihilate Kinkyu. Great Commander, His Majesty spoke. I am here. Sheathe the sword. Yes. Great Commander He Xinju slowly sheathed his long sword and retreated to stand beside His Majesty. Lin Zaiasu said, Your Majesty, I mean no disrespect, merely to remind the Grand Steward not to chill the heart of the late Emperor. If my words were abrupt, I ask for your Majesty's forgiveness. His Majesty nodded slowly. Indeed, my father made his benevolent decree in the past. The Grand Steward's actions go against my father's will, and Marquis Zui's punishment was appropriate. The Grand Steward on the ground trembled all over. His foot had been broken before His Majesty's eyes, and His Majesty claimed it was appropriate. Linzai Asu said, "When your Majesty ascended the throne, I was not within the great wilderness and was uninformed, thus missing the enthronement ceremony. I also ask for your Majesty's forgiveness." The hearts of all ministers leaped in unison. This statement carried extraordinary significance. The message it conveyed was that he supported His Majesty's ascension. He did not attend the ceremony, not because he had other intentions, but because he did not receive the information. Prime Minister Li Lai suddenly spoke. Marquis Zui says he was not within the great wilderness that day, but where was he that he wouldn't even know about the enthronement ceremony? Song Lifu's gaze lifted. This old fox is stirring up trouble. Does he not want to see Marquis Zui reconcile with His Majesty? Using this sensitive issue to drive a wedge between the new emperor and Marquis Zui. I was in Kangyuan that day. Kangyuan? Li Lai's pupils contracted, and everyone in the hall was shocked. Yes, on the first day of March, I traveled with Kangyuan Liui to Kangyuan. After discussing some matters with the Yuan Master and the Elder Council, the 7 heavenly elite invited me to tour their respective domains. Time flew by, and it wasn't until 3 hours ago that the Kangyuan Saintess sought me out specifically to inform me of the late emperor's passing and the new emperor's ascension. I then asked the He Yuan Tiangang to open the passageway, returning to the capital at the first opportunity. Everyone's expressions changed. With a few casual words, he elevated his status infinitely. He entered Kangyuan, discussed matters with the Yuan Master and the Elder Council. The 7 heavenly elite invited him into their domains. The Kangyuan Saintess specifically delivered the message for him. The He Yuan Tiangang opened the door for him. Kangyuan, the one, on the cultivation path for 10,000 years. Anyone who emerges from there is a guest of the topmost powers. The Kangyuan 13 Heavenly Gang, the world's administrators. The status of each surpasses that of a king. Yet in front of him, they are only eager to invite him. The pressure turned to Li Lai. Li Lai took a deep breath. Does Marquis Zui still consider himself a minister of the great wilderness? Linzai Asu's gaze turned to him. Prime Minister, why do you ask such confusing questions? If I didn't see myself as a minister of the great wilderness, why would I return to the capital from beyond the border? If I didn't see myself as a minister of the great wilderness, why would I enter the palace immediately upon His Majesty's summons? So, Marquis Zui is still willing to relieve your Majesty of worry and solve the great wilderness's troubles. As a minister of the great wilderness, relieving your Majesty of worry and solving the great wilderness's troubles is the duty of any loyal subject, is it not? Linzai Asu said. That's excellent. Li Lai turned to face His Majesty. Your Majesty, I believe that to quell the rebellion of the Kinkyu Fox clan, Marquis Zui is the best choice. Please decree that Marquis Zui lead the Heavenly Iron Cavalry to pacify Kinkyu. The Minister of War stepped forward. Your Majesty, I believe that Marquis Zui, with his profound understanding of military strategy and unwavering loyalty to the dynasty, is indeed the best choice to quell the Kinkyu rebellion. I second Prime Minister's proposal. I seconded. In an instant, among the dozens in the hall, apart from Song Lifu who stood alone to one side, all officials of second rank and above unanimously supported the proposal. His Majesty's gaze fell from the distant high platform, reflecting deep thought. Linzai Asu frowned slightly. Prime Minister holds me in such high regard, for which I am deeply grateful, but what has happened in Kinkyu? The Kinkyu rebellion began the month after the Marquis left the capital, the Minister of War explained. Kinkyu suddenly acted against Zhuo Zhailake, completely sealing it off within a month. They murdered countless traitors and expelled local officials. Such wantonness from a sect in the great wilderness cannot be tolerated. The court sent emissaries to Kinkyu for stern negotiations, but the Kinkyu Fox clan, in a fit of ferocity, actually killed the imperial envoy and threw the corpse into Zhuo Zhailake. Marquis Su, the Minister of War's eyes locked firmly on him. Tell us, is this sect not worse than the one you destroyed in Jiangnan? Linzai Asu's eyes gleamed brilliantly. Is there even a need to ask? Should it be annihilated? Prime Minister Li Lai asked. Those who dare disrupt the dynasty's laws shall all be annihilated. Lin Zaiasu said coldly. Very well, Li Lai turned to His Majesty. Please decree, Your Majesty. His Majesty's gaze shifted slowly onto Lin Zaiasu. Imperial decree. Yes. Issue the decree. Command Marquis Zui to lead the forces of Zhen Heaven Pavilion to exterminate the Kinkyu Fox clan. As you command, Lin Zaiasu bowed to accept the decree. Marquis Zui, begin your preparations for battle, His Majesty ordered. I take my leave. Lin Zaiasu withdrew from the Wenling Hall. As Lin Zaiasu departed the Golden Hall and prepared to take flight, a voice entered his sea of consciousness. The Marquis has not brought a carriage. May I offer you a ride? It was the Minister of the Ministry of Justice, Song Lifu. This was his first speech upon meeting Lin Zaiasu this time. Very well, Lin Zaiasu stepped onto Song Lifu's carriage. The carriage slowly drove out of the palace. The two remained silent. Finally, at the junction of Qinglong Avenue and Vermilion Bird Avenue, Song Lifu spoke. The hour is still early. Does the Marquis have any interest in a stroll by Mirror Lake? I seem to have missed the spring scenery of Mirror Lake this year, but fortunately, some late spring flowers yet bloom by its banks. To take a stroll would indeed be a blessing. Master Song, please. Please. The carriage veered toward Zhen Heaven Pavilion and stopped by the lakeside. The two alighted from the carriage and stood side by side beneath the willow shade. Chapter 1005-733, Edict issued. Marquis Zui annihilates Kinkyu /2. A gentle breeze rustles the willow branches softly. The sound of the wind and the music throughout the city suddenly disappeared completely, disappearing with just a slight flick of Lin Zaiasu's fingers. Master Song, I have isolated all surveillance. Go ahead and speak freely. Lin Zaiasu slowly turned his body, looking at the haggard minister of the Ministry of Justice beside him. Song Lifu sighed heavily. Since parting from Jiangnan, many years have passed, and recently, things have worn us both away, Marquis Su. Do you not feel the sense of change in everything? Master Song has quoted a fine poem, but unfortunately it is incomplete. How about I complete it for you? Lin Zaiasu said with a smile. Please, Marquis Su. Lin Zaiasu replied. Since parting from Jiangnan, many years have passed, and recently, things have worn us both away. Only the water of Mirror Lake before my gate remains unchanged by the spring breeze. Your magnanimity, Marquis Su, is admirable. Song Lifu sighed. However, can the water of Mirror Lake before your gate really remain unchanged by the spring breeze? It has all settled into dust. The vicissitudes of life have sealed our fate. Why must it be sealed? Lin Zaiasu withdrew his gaze from the distant Zhen Heaven Pavilion and focused on Song Lifu's face. Song Lifu said, Once upon a time I had a grand wish, and I believe you, Marquis, shared that wish. Alas, it turned out to be an illusion, a dream. He did not explicitly state what the grand wish was, but both he and Lin Zaiasu understood. This grand wish was to jointly assist a wise ruler to ascend the throne and govern the great wilderness together. That wise ruler could only have been the former 7th prince, Prince Yun, Hong Yun. He was the only heir Song Lifu ever favored for the throne, and also the one whom Lin Zaiasu had come closest to after entering the political arena. Unfortunately, he was already dead. The entire Prince Yun mansion had turned to ashes. The one sitting at the end of the Golden Hall was not the one they liked. In fact, it could be said that it was this very majesty who personally crushed their hopes. Master Song, feeling thus, I believe there is another person who shares this sentiment. Lin Zaiasu said, How about you visit Mr. Lei Tianlun first, and I will meet another person first, then we meet at Lei Mansion for a deep discussion. Whom does Marquis intend to see? Currently under Zhen Heaven Pavilion, with court duties arranged, I must first make an appearance and meet Master of the Military Hall, Li Yafu. Very well, I shall head to Lei Mansion immediately. Song Lifu turned and boarded the carriage. His carriage departed, while another carriage returned from the direction of the palace to Zhen Heaven Pavilion. The driver petite and delicate. It was Yu Ying. On the carriage, the curtain was lifted slightly, and Lin Huayang quietly watched Lin Zaiasu by the lake. Shall we stop? Yu Ying's voice entered his ear. Lin Huayang gently shook his head. The carriage passed by and went far away, under the shadow of Zhen Heaven Pavilion. Teacher, I heard about what happened today in the Golden Hall. Did he really break the chief eunuch's leg over a single sentence? Yu Ying asked quietly. Yes. Teacher, what does this mean? Lin Huayang's face showed a layer of smile, demonstration of authority and testing. This young man's way of handling things still leaves one speechless. Demonstration testing. Yu Ying's eyes widened. A subject facing a new emperor testing with authority. In general, the so-called show of authority and testing are usually techniques used from the end of the Golden Hall, but he did the opposite, tested the king as a subject, demonstrated authority in the court with a third rank. Although it appears absurd and ridiculous, yet this authority he truly established. Lin Huayang sighed somewhat emotionally. The former emperor's passing, and the new emperor's ascension, the greatest event in the great wilderness, was quite awkward for Lin Zaiasu. Why so? Because Lin Zaiasu's position was elevated with lightning speed by the former emperor. He had a good relationship with the former emperor and Prince Yun. If the new emperor truly usurped the throne through regicide, Chuanyi Marquis, a man as sharp as a rabbit, would be targeted for elimination. This was apparent to the whole city's populace. How could Chuanyi Marquis not see it? He could foresee every step he took from now on would be fraught with thorns, and what would the average person do? Align themselves cautiously, leaving no evidence to silence accusations from the other side. This was exactly what Song Lifu did. And what about him? He did the opposite. Upon entering the Golden Hall, he actively presented the new emperor and all court ministers with a huge provocation, breaking the chief eunuch's leg right in front of the majesty. If His Majesty harbored thoughts of removing him, this would be the best excuse given to His Majesty. This was the test. Testing whether the new emperor had the intention to remove him. With no backup plan, this would be a foolish path to death, but he had a backup plan. The backup was a deterrence. Commander of the Forbidden Army, he Xinju personally attacked and was repelled with one palm strike under his power. Even the imperial seal was brought out, yet couldn't suppress him. This indicates his combat power has already surpassed the first realm of Tao, entering the second vessel. Within the prestigious palace, the second vessel is insufficient to suppress the entire audience at will. However, he had another backup plan, which was his relationship with Kang Yuan. He informed the whole assembly of ministers and His Majesty that he entered Kang Yuan to talk with the Yuan master, discussed matters with the Elder Council. The 7 heavenly elite vied to invite him, and the Kang Yuan saintess sent messages via special arrangements for him. Such a person, which dynasty would dare to kill? The new emperor doesn't dare. Court officials don't dare. As long as this fear exists, his authority was established. The new emperor must give up any idea of settling accounts with him. Originally, with the new emperor's ascension, droves of court officials were sharpening their knives, planning to act against Chuanyi Marquis, and Chuanyi Marquis merely with one audacious act in the Golden Hall, exchanged it for an incomparably relaxed environment. Can you say this young man is ignorant? Capitulo 1006, Chapter 733, Imperial Edict, Marquis Zui Annihilates Kinkyu Part 3. This is top-tier control. Lin Huayang and Yu Ying entered the Zhentian Pavilion. Then Lin Zaiasu also entered the Zhentian Pavilion, heading straight to the military hall. During this time, Zhentian Pavilion was in chaos. Because Master Lei Tianlun had been ill for a long time, a super expert in the realm of mastery being sick, can you believe it? However, pretend or not, he fell ill sincerely. While everyone was looking at each other, aside from sensing the aura of crisis, they could only hold their noses and admit that the master was indeed sick. Under such circumstances, all the hall masters were bewildered and had no strategy. Zhentian Pavilion, the pavilion that suppressed the world on behalf of the dynasty. But the emperor himself was very wary of Zhentian Pavilion. How could these ambitious hall masters, intent on achieving great things, manage? Sitting in the hall sipping tea seemed to be the safest. Master Li Yafu of the military hall was especially so. Besides being uncertain about his future, he couldn't help but think about his daughter's, Shengnan's Quang Lang, future path. This daughter of his has never behaved like a woman, originally destined to be unwed for life, yet she inexplicably followed someone. The one she followed wasn't from a proper background. This Marquis Zui, whether he would turn into blood clothes, even the fortune teller in Zhentian Pavilion's Taoist hall couldn't predict such a thing. As he sipped his third cup of tea today, still feeling unsettled, the doorkeeper reported, "Hall Master Marquis Zui is here." Li Yafu suddenly stood up. "Marquis Zui." "Yes, Hall Master." "Quickly invite him in." As the doorkeeper went out, Li Yafu took 3 steps towards the door, but in the end, he did not step out into the hallway. He was conflicted inside about whether to maintain distance from him at this time, or to get closer. While he was contemplating, a snow-covered figure crossed the threshold. Marquis, Li Yafu tidied up his conflicting emotions and made a bow in greeting. Master Li, Lin Ziasu also bowed in return. The visit of Marquis to the Zhentian military hall is truly an honor, Li Yafu said. Please come inside for tea. Please, master. The two walked in side by side. Suddenly, with a gust of wind, a figure appeared. The new arrival was unexpectedly Quang Lang, with Zhang Tao right behind him. Both had a flush on their faces. Zhang Tao was clearly excited, while Quang Lang was not only excited but also a bit shy. He returned. As soon as he came back, he faced his father. How could this unmarried daughter not blush, having lost her innocence first? Marquis, Quang Lang gathered his inner panic and shyness, saluting in the manner of old times. Marquis, Zhang Tao also approached. Marquis, you finally came back. The excitement was evident in his voice. Come inside, all of you, Lin Ziasu said. Let's discuss the decree I just received. Decree? Their expressions simultaneously became serious. Marquis, please, Li Yafu said. The four entered the inner hall together. With a wave of his hand, several maids left the room. Lin Ziasu flicked his finger lightly, and a drop of tea flew up, creating a sealed area. I just entered the Golden Hall and received a decree, Lin Ziasu said, commanding me to lead the Zhentian Pavilion army to sweep through the Kinkyu clan. Kinkyu? Quang Lang exclaimed softly. Zhang Tao's expression slightly changed as well. The two were well aware that the person among those who went to Jiangnan back then, Fu Fu, was the Kinkyu's seventh princess, and their master had thus become involved with Kinkyu. Now, however, the new emperor wanted to move against Kinkyu, and the person leading the army was specifically this Marquis. No matter what the intention was, the key is this was a dilemma. Li Yafu pondered. The actions of the Kinkyu have indeed been quite erratic recently, suddenly deploying a large number of elders and clan elites, sealing off Zhuozhai Lake, creating a cleansing force within 1,000 miles around its perimeter. If this were to be a Jianghu matter, it wouldn't concern the dynasty, but the dynasty sent an envoy to Kinkyu, and Kinkyu killed the envoy. Thus, the conflict cannot be resolved. To send troops is in line with the laws of the court, but ordering the Marquis to personally eradicate them is something I didn't anticipate. Zhang Tao said, the decree instructs the Marquis to take action. I had anticipated this, as Kinkyu is an ancient great clan with many in the state of holding. A normal commander would struggle to ensure victory, but only the Marquis can decide the outcome in a single battle. However, Fu Fu is the Kinkyu's seventh princess, and the relationship between the Marquis and Kinkyu is well known. This decree is an unreasonable demand. Lin Ziasu said, the sealing of Zhuozhai by Kinkyu was my suggestion to the Kinkyu clan leader on that day. Everyone was collectively astonished. Marquis Yu, Zhang Tao's voice trembled. Lin Ziasu said, why is it called Zhuozhai Lake? Simply because for thousands of years, the 1,000-mile expanse of the lake, thousands of miles of lake shores, have been entirely under the control of the Heart Dao Heart Gate. I let Kinkyu take action to clear it, to give the world under heaven a clear sky. What crime is there? Marquis, did you mention this in the Golden Hall in front of His Majesty? Li Yafu's expression turned as dark and deep as water. Lin Ziasu slowly shook his head. The previous emperor passed away, and the various kings died of poison. Although it was the one Du sect that acted, the mastermind behind it is the Heart Dao's second in command, Half-Tao Lord of Heavenly Face. The one sitting on the Golden Hall's throne currently is a puppet of the Heart Dao. The Prime Minister and full court officials, except for Song Lifu and Master Lei, are all accomplices of Heart Dao. Master Li, do you think it was necessary for me to waste words with them in the Golden Hall? Deathly silence enveloped the room. Everyone's expressions changed rapidly. Before Lin Ziasu revealed this layer of truth, in fact, everyone had their calculations in their hearts. Everyone had guessed this layer. But no one dared to speak. Now he spoke out, and even pointed out the person behind the scenes. Marquis, what should we do? Quang Lang's voice was very low. Capitulo 1007, Chapter 733, Imperial Edict, Marquis Zui eliminates Kinkyu, Part 4. I said, if I do this, will you follow me all the way, right? Lin Ziasu asked. I definitely will, Quang Lang looked at her father. Father, you will too, right? This term of address was something she had never publicly uttered before. Usually she would never call him father in the presence of others. Li Yafu's gaze was wild, turning towards Zhang Tao. He knew that Marquis Zui was the cheap son-in-law of his family. Standing from the perspective of kinship, standing from the perspective of righteousness, he had already made up his mind, but what about Zhang Tao? Zhang Tao suddenly knelt down. Disciple studied the military path of the Marquis long ago and has already considered himself to be a disciple of the Marquis. If Master does not abandon, please take me as a disciple today. This is an open declaration. He did not use empty vows to follow, but chose to formally apprentice. At that time, the relationship between master and disciple was not ordinary. Masters and disciples were like father and son. Lin Zaiasu smiled. Very well, today I will accept you as my disciple. All three felt their hearts pounding. Correct the roots, restore the river to its rightful source, it will be today. Lin Zaiasu said, just the few of us are not enough. Let's go visit Master Lei. Lei Mansion. The doors tightly shut. After all, the public announcement was that the family head was ill, refusing outside visitors. In fact, outside visitors were also turned away from visiting the Lei Mansion. People from the court have long become worldly wise in the official circles, who can't read the winds. With the new emperor ascending, Mr. Lei feigns illness, refusing even to attend the enthronement ceremony. What a foolish and obstinate old man he is. How could the new emperor tolerate this? No sensible person would approach someone like this. Because of this, for over a month, the entrance of Lei Mansion was deserted and quiet. That is until today, when Song Lifu came to visit. Lei Tianlin, hearing it's him coming, dropped the act and got up directly to welcome him inside. Asked about his intentions, Song Lifu candidly said, I don't even know why I'm here. Lei Tianlin's eyes immediately widened like copper bells, but then Song Lifu spoke the next sentence. Marquis Zui asked me to come first. He will be here shortly. Lei Tianlin trembled all over. He has returned. Just returned 3 hours ago, urgently summoned by your majesty, and he has already fearlessly acted upon the Golden Hall. An incredible Golden Hall incident was recounted from his mouth, causing Lei Tianlin's heart to race. As the conversation ended, Lei Tianlin looked unmovingly out the window. Mr. Lei, what do you perceive? Song Lifu sipped his tea. Is this a demonstration of power or a test? Lei Tianlin exhaled lightly. Perhaps it is both, or perhaps there is still a mystical mechanism we have not yet seen through. Let's wait a little longer, he should be here soon. About half an hour later, the servant reported, Marquis Zui requests to see you. With an invitation, Lin Zaiasu appeared in the reception room alongside Li Yafu, Quang Lang, and Zhang Tao. After the pleasantries, the door was closed, sealing the room. Lin Zaiasu got straight to the point. 3 masters, perhaps you have long suspected, 1 emperor and several princes' deaths. Behind is the sinister plot of Heart Dao and the poison sect. Now, I responsibly inform you, your suspicions are correct. Everything was directed by Heart Dao in collusion with the poison sect. The entire court has been controlled by Heart Dao. The new emperor they painstakingly supported is nothing but a Heart Dao lapdog. Do you have irrefutable evidence? Lei Tianlin glared furiously. Naturally, I have. I planted some ears in the poison sect. Here's their detailed plan for murdering the princes and regicide. A stack of documents was handed to the 3 elders. The fingertips of the 3 elders trembled lightly. Capitulo 1008, Chapter 734, The Great Reveal, the Emperor has been replaced. Lei Tianlin slammed the table and stood up. Such audacity, setting a precedent for the ages. Indeed, Song Lifu said, since we are aware of this matter, we ought to address the root cause. Mr. Lei, how about using the forces of Zhen Heaven Pavilion as the foundation? Lei Tianlin's expression was grave. Marquis Su, Master Song, this is where the difficulty lies. I am ill, and the command of the pavilion's troops has fallen into the hands of Du King. This person is likely the heart and soul of your majesty. Without his military token, the Zhentian Bing Hall cannot be mobilized. Li Yafu said, exactly, although I am the master of the military hall, I cannot command the leaders under me. No, Quang Lang said, Master, the 7th team I lead can ignore the military orders. That's the benefit of directly commanding troops. The soldiers under the direct command of a general follow only her orders. Those lower-ranking soldiers don't care about any Tiger Talisman military token. They listen to the command of the general. If the general plans to rebel, the military orders from above are nothing but a scrap of paper to her. Your seventh team is only 20,000 men, Li Yafu said. The Royal Forbidden Army numbers 100,000, and the Hidden Dragon Guard is nearby. To act blindly is to smash an egg against a stone, merely seeking death. So what if it's an army of 20,000? Quang Lang said. On that day with 3,000 troops, we could go to Jiangnan. The millions of Jiangnan sect disciples were swept away all the same. The three big shots looked at each other in dismay. Lei Tianlin let out a long sigh. Even though I admire Quang Lang's courage, there's still another challenge concerning the people's sentiment. To address the root cause, the expedition must have a just cause. If there were still a prince alive, we could gather the armies under the banner of rallying to the king. But all the imperial family relatives have tragically perished, and there is no one to rally around. The moment these words were spoken, Song Lifu sighed despondently. Indeed, if there were still a prince alive, they could invoke the banner of assisting the prince to restore order. But now there isn't a single prince. They couldn't even concoct a reason for rebellion. Underneath this grand banner, there is no pillar. Lin Ziasu smiled faintly. If Prince Yun were still alive, wouldn't things be much simpler? Song Lifu felt as if a knife had been thrust into his heart, even his brow nodded. That would indeed be the case, but alas, heaven does not favor it. Prince Yun, in the end, does not have this fortune. He had spent half his life nurturing Prince Yun. Through all the hardships. However, everything turned to dust with the upheaval at Prince Yun Mansion. Heaven has not remained unkind, Lin Ziasu said. Prince Yun is not dead. What? All five in the room exclaimed in unison, completely unable to believe their ears. Lin Ziasu said, before I left the capital, I made one final arrangement, which was for Prince Yun to arrange a stand-in to reside in the mansion, while he himself, along with his Princess Fufeng, hid in Kinkyu. This news was earth-shattering. Prince Yun was indeed not dead. Lin Ziasu added, the new emperor sent envoys to Kinkyu, surely discovering this mystical mechanism. Thus they couldn't allow the imperial envoy to leave the Li Mountain. This is probably the real reason Kinkyu killed the envoy. Everyone suddenly understood. How could an ancient clan come to the point of killing the imperial envoy? This reasoning alone stands grounded. Kinkyu conceals a dead prince who poses a great threat to the throne. How could this news be leaked? So they took the great risk to kill and silence him. You need not worry about military strength, Lin Ziasu said. Everything is within my control. If the news that Prince Yun was not dead gave everyone a shot of excitement, this statement made the endless gloom in the room suddenly loosen. Everything? Song Lifu squinted his eyes and asked in return. Yes, now listen to my arrangements, Lin Ziasu said. I guarantee that in at most 7 days Prince Yun will ascend the throne. With this statement, the gloom in the room truly swept away completely. In Kinkyu, the moon was already high in the sky. In the splendid mountains of May's midsummer, it is probably only on peaks like Kinkyu that there is still a cool night breeze. The night breeze blew through, the starlight like water. At the entrance of a cave, a person sat quietly, gazing up at the stars. In front of him, a cup of tea, its heat long gone. Behind him, a graceful silhouette quietly watched him, making no sound. The person sitting was Prince Yun, 7th Prince Hong Yun. Standing behind him was his princess, Fufeng. Fufeng knew the complexity of her husband's mood. She wanted to offer a few words of comfort, but truly didn't know how to comfort him. He could not hold a memorial for his departed father. Several brothers met tragic ends not long apart, and he couldn't speak of it. Knowing full well the person sitting atop the distant golden hall was the beast who had killed his father to usurp the throne, he also couldn't speak of it. Because he was already a dead man. At least in everyone's perception, he was dead. Fufeng sighed softly, glided gracefully to Prince Yun's side, and extended her hand, lifting the teapot. The teapot in her hand quickly warmed and the fragrance gradually permeated. The spout tilted slightly, pouring out the cool tea, before refilling the cup with hot tea. It was perhaps the only thing she could do. Fufeng, I can see no hope now. Prince Yun lifted the teacup, took a light sip, his voice filled with endless bitterness. Your Highness, do not lose heart. On the day of parting, Marquis Su made it clear. Your Highness, remain useful in body, and in the future you will surely restore the land and clear the universe. Restoring the land and clearing the universe, spoken so lightly, how is it possible? Prince Yun said with a bitter smile. That person atop the golden hall removes the loyal and strengthens his power daily. If given a year or so, even if father were to resurrect, it would be impossible to remove this traitor from the throne. No matter how cunning Marquis Su is, in the face of this established situation, what can he do? Capitulo 1009, Chapter 734, The Big Reveal, the Emperor has been replaced too. Fu Feng said, Your Highness, do not forget he has Kang Yuan behind him. The shifting of imperial power has never been Kang Yuan's concern. Precisely because he is a person of Kang Yuan, this situation is even harder to resolve. Prince Yun sighed deeply. Perhaps it is time for me to let go of my obsession and peacefully uphold our old Jianghu promise here in Kinkyu. The old Jianghu promise. Without thinking of imperial dynasties, without thinking of status, becoming each other's Jianghu. Waiting for the beauty to fade away in this Jianghu. Suddenly the sky trembled, and a figure appeared out of thin air. Fu Feng raised his gaze. Prince Yun's gaze, however, fell on the river ahead. In the river, a Taikai yin-yang shadow. This is the strongest defense of Kinkyu, also the protection for him from Kinkyu. The one who set up this shadow was Hu Jai, the legendary heavenly pride of Kinkyu. If there were danger, this shadow would stir. Since the shadow is still, it indicates no danger. Who has come? With a whoosh, the figure broke through the air and landed. A young, handsome noble, Fu Ling of the great Kinkyu clan. Eldest sister, there's a major development. As soon as Fu Ling landed, he spoke urgently, Marquis Zui has returned. Fu Feng was shocked all over, and Prince Yun suddenly stood up. Even the yin-yang fish projection in the river rippled slightly. Hu Jai, monitoring the whole scene, suddenly hearing this news, was internally turbulent. Her little underground husband has returned. Speak the specifics. Fu Feng's expression was tense. He returned to the residence no more than 6 hours ago. The new emperor summoned him, and he did indeed enter the palace. There in the Golden Hall, he stirred up the first storm. We must admit, our brother-in-law is truly extraordinary. He broke the leg of the chief eunuch in front of the new emperor. Prince Yun was shocked. Why would he commit such a rebellious act? In everyone's view, it was simply because the Grand Steward ordered him to kneel before the new emperor. He used the previous emperor's decree citing the clause, do not kneel before the monarch, as a reason, angrily denouncing the Grand Steward for disrespecting the late emperor, and thus broke his leg. But the deeper reason is certainly not so trivial. It must be a demonstration of power. A show of force, a demonstration toward the new emperor, Prince Yun muttered, his eyes gradually lighting up, as if an old man on the brink of collapse was reawakening with youth. This is the only reason I could find, a demonstration. Fu Ling said, commander of the forbidden army He Xinju tried to suppress him, but was countered with a single slap, even startling the imperial seal, yet still unable to subdue him. He has clearly entered the realm. Entering the realm. Hong Yun's heart pounded, and then he bowed to the new emperor. The new emperor acknowledged the punishment of the Grand Steward was justified, and did not pursue the matter further. The tense atmosphere plummeted, and the harmony between the monarch and ministers was fully apparent. Everyone looked at each other in disbelief. Not even pursue this matter. Isn't it simply too lacking in explanation? However, all right, and then, Fu Feng took a deep breath. Afterwards, Prime Minister Li Lai proposed to the new emperor to lead the Zhentian army to pacify our Kinkyu. Fu Feng and Prince Yun's expressions drastically changed. Outrageous, utterly outrageous, Fu Feng gritted his teeth. Prince Yun's face was grim. To have him lead the Zhentian army to pacify Kinkyu, it is truly insidious. The Zhentian army is a force that the one on the dragon throne deeply fears, just as Kinkyu is a power he wishes to eliminate. He hopes for both to be weakened through mutual conflict. He is a military strategy, heavenly pride. He could see at a glance the malice in this strategy. With the new emperor's ascension, Lei Tianlun, the pavilion master of the Zhen Heaven Pavilion, feigned illness and hid, never pledging his loyalty, which already planted a seed of distrust in the new emperor's heart. How can the Zhentian army around the imperial city not be under the new emperor's control? However, directly removing the Zhentian army is too serious. Using this manner to remove it demonstrates brilliance. The heavenly suppression army is strong, especially under his command, and Kinkyu is not weak either, as it is a clan holding the way, with more than one holding the way. Once such a war breaks out, it is bound to result in bloodshed. No matter which side weakens the other, the one sitting on the dragon throne would happily watch. This is the art of power and strategy. Fu Feng said, how did he respond? Fu Ling took a deep breath. He did not oppose it, he took the holy decree. The entire place fell silent. They all could see that this was a mutually destructive plan tailored by the court officials for him, the Zhen Heaven Pavilion and Kinkyu. Could Su Lin, this snow-clothes marquis known for his intelligence, not see it? He actually accepted the holy decree. If he were truly such a coward, why would he have performed the feat of breaking the chief eunuch's leg? Eldest sister, your highness, Fu Ling said. Hearing this news, I completely couldn't believe it. Since the last meeting, I've sincerely admired this brother-in-law. I absolutely cannot believe he would genuinely mobilize the Zhentian army to destroy Kinkyu. You don't believe it, and neither do I. Fu Feng's gaze turned to Prince Yun. Your highness, do you believe it? Prince Yun shook his head slowly. There are many worldly people who adapt to the times, surviving under low eaves, but he should absolutely not be among them. Let's see if he truly will bring the army to Zhuozhai Lake. Suddenly 2 dots, one black and one white, swept across the sky. Blazingly fast. In the next moment, a figure cut through the sky. With a gentle exclamation, Hu Jai's voice was full of joy. Prince Yun's gaze rose, his entire person completely petrified. His silhouette graceful, handsome and elegant in a snow-white long robe, racing across the night sky, wasn't it Marquis Zui, the very subject of their recent discussion? Silently and without warning, Lin Zaiasu seemed to take one step across 1,000 miles of sky, arriving directly before Prince Yun. Prince Yun's hand suddenly reached out, grasping his hand, Prince Yun's palm full of sweat. Have you returned? Capitulo 1010, Chapter 734, The Great Revelation. The Emperor has been replaced /3. Only just returning today, Lin Zaiasu sighed softly. Some things even I could not have foreseen. Who could have foreseen it? Prince Yun sighed. Looking back on the events of the past half-year feels like a great dream. Lin Zaiasu said, I've returned, the dream should awaken too. Today I ask frankly, may your highness answer me clearly. How about it? Ask away. Faced with those who steal the nation and the court, murder the monarch and usurp the throne, facing the situation where the myriad court officials are all Heart Dao's lackeys, can your highness tolerate it? Prince Yun looked skyward. By heaven as my witness, I absolutely cannot. Then that's good, Lin Zaiasu said. Today I come to Kinkyu to meet with your highness for just one purpose, to assist your highness in ascending to the supreme throne, to wield the power over heaven and earth, and with an iron fist to sweep away all formidable figures of the great wilderness. Prince Yun's body shook profoundly. Hu Jai was captivated. Fu Feng was overjoyed beyond measure. Fu Ling stretched out his hand and took a chair. Brother-in-law, please have a seat. His face was flushed red too. His able to come alone in the dead of night and speak such words represented that the family's most concerning issue would not befall. There was absolutely no possibility he would lead the Zhen Heaven Pavilion army to deploy his unparalleled array path and execute the act of annihilating Kinkyu. Since he is not an enemy, he is family. Lin Zaiasu sat down. Prince Yun sat down. Fu Feng personally held the kettle and poured Lin Zaiasu a cup of tea. Brother, this matter is harder than ascending to heaven, Prince Yun said softly. The word brother came from his mouth for the first time in life. In days past it was inconvenient to say, but today it was possible. Like-minded individuals are all brothers. What imperial family etiquette, damn it. What do you imagine the difficulty to be? Lin Zaiasu lifted the teacup. The court is under his control, and the Zhen Heaven Pavilion army is essentially in his grip too. If following the holy decree, you lead the Zhen Heaven army against Kinkyu, the army can be at your command. However, if you harbor differing intentions, the Zhen Heaven army will surely not heed your command. Plus, there is the forbidden army of 100,000 with the great commander as his loyal hound. Besides, there is the hidden dragon guard. All these are difficulties, Prince Yun said. Every word he said seemed to chill the air and the space by several degrees. Once all was said, outside the cave, it was cold as an ice palace. To seize the throne by force, one cannot bypass the forbidden army, Zhen Heaven Pavilion army, and hidden dragon guard. Even if Kinkyu bears infamy and invades the imperial city possesses the advantage of timing, geography, and unity, and under the protection of millions of armies, Kinkyu is fundamentally defenseless. Even deploying super experts, the opposite side has super experts too. Others may not know, but how could Prince Yun not know? Within the imperial palace, able to dispatch the Tao wielding is at least 20 people. Even if Tao-wielding Second Realm charges the palace, the Imperial Seal can rival the second vessel. No matter the operation method, it is impossible to capture the Imperial Palace. Lin Zaiasu sipped the tea. You all know the holy decree today, ordering me to lead the Zhen Heaven Pavilion army to pacify Kinkyu, yes. Yes. You also know of my breaking the chief eunuch's leg incident. Prince Yun nodded gently, yes. Do you know why I broke his leg? Prince Yun replied, we were just analyzing. The judgment of the family chiefs was for establishing authority, while I think you might have another intention, that is testing. Testing if this new emperor harbors malice towards you. Fu Feng's eyes lit up. Establishing authority testing, could those truly be your reasons? Lin Zaiasu smiled, no, neither. Neither? The real reason is but one, Lin Zaiasu said. I was creating an opportunity to force out the Imperial Seal. To force out the Imperial Seal, Prince Yun's brow furrowed, this is essentially still testing. Testing to what extent he has mastered the Imperial Seal, right? Lin Zaiasu shook his head slowly. No, forcing out the Imperial Seal is just to facilitate my primordial spirit possession. Boom! Outside in the river, the yin-yang fish scattered in chaos. Hu Jai's mind was disordered. The three in the field all suddenly looked up, hearts pounding wildly. Fu Feng's voice trembled, you divine separation. Yes, the one currently sitting in the Golden Hall as the new emperor is actually me. A mere short sentence. All their inner surges reached 10,000, 80,000 and more. The new emperor ascended, dwelling in Wenling Hall, with dangerous elements like Marquis Zui entering the palace. Could be said all major experts were on high alert. Wanting to touch a hair of the new emperor would be operationally impossible. Yet he precisely used a seemingly nonsense mutter from the Grand Steward as a loophole to find the breakthrough mystical mechanism. Directly targeting the Grand Steward, triggering the commander of the Forbidden Army's defensive skill, then clashing with the commander's move, leading to the Imperial Seal field control. The field control by the Imperial Seal was what he truly needed. Because with the protection of the Imperial Seal, he could not target the new emperor for possession. Only by directly activating the Imperial Seal did his primordial spirit have the chance to covertly infiltrate the new emperor's sea of consciousness, imperceptibly. Well, no, in full view, possesses the new emperor. No one thought of this. Just because the collective knowledge held that nowadays, no one truly mastered the divine splitting technique. But he precisely could. This possession, left the intrigue as to whether Su Lin was demonstrating might or testing, yet no one thought that these were only surface, and the deeper level was a move the world dared not even imagine, primordial spirit split body possession. Therefore, Lin Zaiasu said, what you conceive as difficult is not truly difficult. What we need to do is not to seize the throne by force, but to orchestrate a throne abdication that will be recorded in the annals of history. Just as the boundless storm in everyone's hearts began to calm slightly, it surged once more. Throne abdication. The current throne, in fact, belongs to him. Seize the throne. The greatest obstacle is naturally the person already securely seated on the throne. However, to one wholeheartedly intending to abdicate, does the obstacle still exist? Capitulo 10:11, Chapter 734, The Grand Revelation. The Emperor has been replaced /4. No, there is only assistance. Understanding this, a smile appeared on Fu Feng's face. Flowers bloomed in Fu Ling's heart. This brother-in-law, rumored to have unparalleled wisdom and tactics, today's event, how could it be just covered by exceptional strategy? It is truly earth-shattering, a marvel that even ghosts and gods would weep for. When others seize the throne, the most brilliant plan is to integrate forces and engage in a final confrontation. But he silently and under everyone's eyes changed the emperor. Only Prince Yun, his heart incredibly complex, slowly lifted his gaze. This matter was originally supposed to be top secret. As long as you don't speak, no one knows. Why must you say it? These words were simply asked. Yet the meaning was incredibly complex. Fu Feng and Fu Ling were deeply shocked. Indeed, the person before them had already succeeded and was the de facto emperor. 9-5 honor, which man in the world wouldn't want that? If he concealed it, he could be the emperor, and no one could possibly think of it. With his means, he could easily erase everyone's cognitive differences and be a rightful emperor. However, he deliberately informed everyone of this, especially Prince Yun, and promised abdication. Why is this? Lin Zaiasu laughed. Your Highness, do not doubt, my path does not lie in imperial authority. In fact, if I sit on that position for too long, it would cause irreparable damage to my Tao. Therefore, within 7 days I must abdicate. Concerning the Tao realm, Prince Yun asked. Concerning the Tao realm. If anyone else in the world said this, I wouldn't believe it. Only when brother speaks do I believe it. Prince Yun let out a long breath. Lin Zaiasu said, All right, let people spread the news, saying that you, Prince Yun, are in Kinkyu. Prince Yun's eyebrows furrowed again. Spread the news, are you sure? Your Highness, consider, once they know you're still in Kinkyu, how would the court handle it? Prince Yun gently shook his head. You tell me, what would be their best course of action? Lin Zaiasu said, The new emperor ascends, knowing that Prince Yun is still alive. The only option aligned with orthodoxy and logic is to summon you. Let us see if this prince will comply with the holy decree. Prince Yun's eyes brightened. If I don't comply, Kinkyu and I are both suspected of treason, which gives them justification to attack. If I comply from their perspective, it means I voluntarily return to Beijing, just to be a sacrifice. Exactly. Those heart-downplaying ministers, how could they give up on such an option that fully occupies the moral high ground and puts you in a dilemma? So, they will certainly urge the new emperor to call upon you. Once summoned, I shall comply, said Prince Yun. Precisely, Lin Zaiasu said, and upon returning to Beijing, it will be the enactment of the new emperor issuing a self-reproaching decree and abdicating in favor of the virtuous. A self-reproaching decree, there's such a move, Prince Yun's face twisted. Haha, Lin Zaiasu laughed. Your Highness, rest assured, a self-reproaching decree would be extremely distressing for a true king, but it is of no distress for me. If His Highness does not object, I can even bring in ancestors and draft the self-reproaching decree profoundly. With a burst of laughter, he stepped into the air, returning to Beijing. Prince Yun's face was full of conflict. You bastard, under the name of the Hong family's descendant, issuing a self-reproaching decree including ancestors, are you cursing your own ancestors? That's cursing my ancestors. Though such words would be absolute defiance for the imperial family, this joke of his swept away the tense and suffocating atmosphere. Hu Jai had been watching the drama with a flushed face and a pounding heart. Suddenly seeing him break through the air, she felt empty inside. She wanted to ask him, did you make such an effort to come here just to leave like this? Won't you spend some time with me? But she, being a senior master, inviting him would be inappropriate, very conflicting. A voice drifted into her ears. Hu Jai, darling, today isn't quite suitable, so I won't spend time with you. Go with Prince Yun, sort out the throne, and then we'll have a water-inundated Fox Valley scene at the Marquis Mansion. Hu Jai bit her lip. Bad husband, you shameless. A two-word reply came, and his figure disappeared. Chapter 10, 12-735. Prince Yun returns to the capital. Dahuang City, desolate capital in this May weather, moved at a leisurely pace. In the ever-changing world of imperial authority, for ordinary citizens, it's just the sun outside the window. You walk your path, I live my life. However, the day after Marquis Zui returned to Beijing, a piece of news burst forth like thunder. Prince Yun is still alive, he's in Kinkyu. 2 sentences, 10 words were like thunder, rolling through the desolate capital, becoming the greatest shock in the marketplace. Over the years, many gambles have played out around the crown prince's battle for succession, with everyone in the court swept up in it. Any news related to the princes becomes a hot topic, especially in such a complex and sensitive time. In just half a year, all the princes have perished. After the emperor passed away, only Prince An remained, so naturally, he became the new emperor. Everyone thought this was the solution of no other choice. The dynasty always needs an emperor. The Hong family's kingdom must be ruled by the bloodline of the previous emperor to be considered legitimate. Hence, no one ever mentioned whether it was right for the new emperor to ascend the throne, since the Hong family lineage is all gone, leaving only a sole survivor. Whether he's truly an emperor or just is, what's the right or wrong in that? Yet now, suddenly this news emerges. Prince Yun is not dead. Oh my God, when you single out these 2 princes, Prince Yun, in terms of prestige, talent, and public support, completely outmatches Prince An in every aspect. After all, this Prince Yun once guarded the border for 11 years. His accomplishments were achieved through true battle. Last year, he went to Jiangnan, leading the Zhen Heaven Pavilion army to resist the invasion across the sea by the Kaiyuan country, protecting the dignity of the great wilderness dynasty. In the marketplace, there are also series of his deeds of loving and caring for the people. And what does Prince Yin have? Before the other princes died, he was a minor figure, easily overlooked by many. Choosing Prince Yin, Hong Yang, as emperor was not because he suited being emperor, but because there was no choice. Now suddenly emerging Prince Yun, will there be renewed disputes over the great position of the kingdom? Suddenly the rumors spread widely. The news quickly reached all directions. The world's citizens moved at the news. The people originally didn't need to be sensitive to the affairs of the imperial family, because it didn't concern them. Yet Lin Xiaosu going to Jiangnan told them one thing. The dynasty's decisions are indeed closely related to the people. Because of the ambitions of the previous emperor and the high position of someone like Marquis Zui, the people of Jiangnan land lived happily as this world's example. Who among the people of Jiangnan doesn't wish for a prince similar to the previous emperor to ascend the throne? The citizens of Jiangbei, Jiangxi, Jiangdong, who don't wish for the Jiangnan spring breeze to blow through their hometowns. After the previous emperor passed away, the new emperor ascended. This former Prince Yin is not at all like the former emperor, and relations with the sect began to turn ambiguous as before. The Jiangnan sect sensed a different flavor, and dreams that were shattered are resurfacing. Worry for the people of Jiangnan. Despair for the rest of the citizens. At this moment, suddenly hearing that Prince Yun, who aligned with the ideals of the former emperor and acted in sync with Marquis Zui, is still around, all the people got excited. Not just the people. In officialdom, a level 10 storm was stirred. Huzhou Governor Zhang Yuan stood up and stepped onto his roof, facing the desolate capital, with waves of emotion surging. On the distant northwest Jian platform, General Zulong took a single step and broke through the sky, standing atop the mountain peaks, a long howl shaking the mountains and forests, seemingly venting the biggest knot that had been on his heart for months. In Beijing, Wenling Hall, the atmosphere was exceptionally oppressive. Your Majesty sat high at the end of the hall, face concealed in shadow, almost indistinguishable. Below, the ministers were arguing fiercely. Report! Outside the Golden Hall, a person shouted. Zhen Heaven Pavilion Vice Pavilion Master Du King requests to see your Majesty. Du King, Vice Pavilion Master of Zhen Heaven Pavilion, during Pavilion Master Lei Tianlan's illness, was the de facto controller of Zhen Heaven Pavilion, including military powers and daily affairs of various pavilions. The most crucial thing is, he is one of your Majesty's trustworthy confidants. Let him in, your Majesty uttered one word. Du King strode into the hall and performed a grand salute. Your Majesty, after receiving the news of Prince Yun being alive, I immediately activated the Kinkyu secret spies. The news has been verified. The entire hall fell silent. You could hear a pin drop. Your Majesty spoke, report it. Yes, Du King said, Your Majesty, please look. In his hand, a jade pendant suddenly emitted light, within which two figures appeared on a hillside. A man and a woman. The man had a handsome countenance and exuded the aura of the imperial family. The woman, with an elegant demeanor, floated like a fairy. The distant mountains and rivers were exactly the scenery of Kinkyu. It's him, Prime Minister Li Lai locked his eyes firmly on the scene. Exactly. Beside him, the Minister of Rights said, This woman is named Fu Feng, his concubine. On that day, the tragedy at Prince Yun Mansion resulted in 37 deaths. Prince Yun's body dissolved into blood, and this woman was found nowhere. Turns out she had long taken Prince Yun to hide in Kinkyu. Do my lord, when was this image recorded? Your Majesty spoke. Just 3 hours ago, Du King said. I also verified another matter. On that day, the imperial envoy entered Kinkyu and inadvertently saw Prince Yun, which led Kinkyu to silence him and cover up the truth. With these words, all in the hall were astonished. Li Lai sighed long. I kept saying, how could an ancient great clan act so rashly in killing an envoy? Turns out such a hidden secret existed. The crowd discussed, all of them understanding many past puzzles. Prince Yun was supposedly dead, the concubine disappeared, the suspicions were unraveled. Because Prince Yun himself was not dead, he merely played a scheme of substitute. Kinkyu suddenly controlling Zhuozhai Lake's 1,000 miles of territory was because Kinkyu had already involved itself in the struggle for imperial authority. Capitulo 1013, Chapter 735, Prince Yun Returns to the Capital Part 2. The ancient great clan risked the world's greatest taboo by killing the imperial envoy because he had discovered a secret that could not be exposed. An image, a rumor, the marketplace gossip that Prince Yun is still alive, instantly transformed into an ironclad fact. So how to handle this? This question became the focus of a new round of discussion among the high-ranking officials in the Golden Hall. Prince Yun, as a member of the imperial family, faked his death and hid within the sect and the ancient clan, which shows his malicious intent, said the minister of the Ministry of Personnel. Exactly as a prince, when the late emperor passed away without observing the proper rites, where were the rules and the clan laws, said the minister of rights. Your Majesty, he must be severely punished at once. For a moment, the entire hall was filled with accusations and condemnations. Your Majesty's gaze fell upon Prime Minister Li Lai. Li Lai stepped forward. Your Majesty, this old minister believes Your Majesty should issue a decree to summon Prince Yun back to the capital. As soon as these words were spoken, the hall fell silent. Everyone, being astute, understood the subtlety of this decree. Prince Yun had committed no crimes. He merely used a substitute to escape death, and to accuse him could be seen as unreasonable. More importantly, it could undermine Your Majesty's prestige, making people suspect. Could it be that Your Majesty feels threatened by Prince Yun, thus using public authority for personal gain? But issuing a decree to summon him fits all the right reasons. Now that the nation is stable, Your Majesty rightfully reigns as sovereign. As the emperor, it is justified to command a prince to return to Beijing. However, with this decree, Prince Yun is put in a passive position. If he agrees, it's like sending meat to the chopping block. Once he enters the capital, his life will be at the mercy of the new emperor. If he disagrees, the excuses and reasons then become justified. Dare a prince defy the emperor's decree, and what do you intend? Thus sending troops to punish him becomes justified and convincing to the world. No matter what choice they make, the court can proceed with ease. This is the shrewdness of Prime Minister Li Lai. Your Majesty's gaze swept across the hall. Gentlemen, do you agree with the Prime Minister's suggestion? This old minister believes the Prime Minister's suggestion is calm and thorough. The Minister of Rights stepped forward. This old minister agrees. This old minister agrees. For a moment, everyone was in agreement. Except for one, the Minister of the Ministry of Justice, Song Lifu. After everyone expressed their stance, Prime Minister Li Lai bowed to Your Majesty. Your Majesty, the one to be sent to Kinkyu must have a good relationship with Prince Yun to avoid troubles. This old minister recommends one person, the Minister of the Ministry of Justice, Master Song, as the special envoy. Upon hearing this, Song Lifu was dumbfounded. He seemed not yet recovered from the shock of Prince Yun being alive. The other ministers echoed in agreement as usual. Your Majesty slightly bowed. Master Song, are you willing to go? All eyes were on Song Lifu's face. Song Lifu took a deep breath, stepped forward. I am willing to go. Imperial decree, said Your Majesty. Present. Issue the decree. Order Minister of the Ministry of Justice, Song Lifu, to start his journey to Kinkyu immediately, to summon Prince Yun Hong Yun to the palace to meet me. Limited to 3 days, any delay will be severely punished. I obey the decree. Song Lifu extended his hands, receiving the holy decree. Under the holy decree, the news quickly spread throughout the city. The listeners looked at each other. All smelled the cruel breath of the struggle for imperial power. Inside Zhen Heaven Pavilion, in a small courtyard, the peach and plum blossoms were still fragrant this season. Lin Weiyang sat at the end of the long corridor, quietly watching the slowly flowing river ahead. Yu Ying gently extended her hand, supporting his waist. Teacher, are those people in the court also not simple? Lin Weiyang sighed lightly. Who in such treacherous currents can stand firm and not be an old fox? To have Song Lifu summon Prince Yun into the palace and limit the time to 3 days, delay severely punished. What a scheme, a damn good scheme. Teacher, Prince Yun is impossible to enter the palace, right? Yu Ying said. If Prince Yun does not enter the palace, they will use the charge of dereliction of duty to take down Song Lifu, to eliminate the court's only irregular voice. But if Prince Yun enters the palace, it's like sending meat to the chopping block, Yu Ying said. Yes, Prince Yun is wrong no matter what he chooses, Lin Weiyang said. Originally, it was a brilliant strategy to stir the winds of the court, but in a blink of an eye it turned into a dilemma. My fellow townsman, what can he do? Teacher, do you mean Prince Yun's fake death was a post-move left by Lin Zaiasu? Yu Ying said. Of course, this step is the core move he used to manage the Great Wilderness Dynasty. Teacher, tell me in detail. Lin Huayang began to speak. He actually realized early on that Lin Zaiasu had a hidden move. Why? Because his entry into the court, every move and aim was directed toward one thing, which was to arrange the Dawang court, using the court's power to firmly control the three entrances within Daxia country and eliminate the most realistic crisis from that world outside the National Gate. Based on this, his ultimate goal must be to control the throne. However, reality deviated. The late emperor, who valued him greatly, passed away. The seventh prince, who was exceptionally good to him and seemed like his supporter, died. The court gradually came under the control of Heart Dao, growing increasingly stable. This completely did not align with Lin Zaiasu's style. Until news spread that Prince Yun is still in Kinkyu, Lin Huayang suddenly realized. All the things that he could not understand now all made sense. He knew why, at the time of Prince Yun's death, Lin Zaiasu left the capital early. He even knew why, when the emperor died, Lin Zaiasu never returned. Because of one thing, Prince Yun's death was fake, but the emperor's death was real, which was exactly what Lin Zaiasu needed. Even the deaths of the other princes were necessary for Lin Zaiasu. If the emperor didn't die and the other contenders weren't removed, how could Prince Yun ascend? So at this stage, among the three conflicting powers of Heart Dao, Wan Du sect and Lin Zaiasu, an uncommon consensus was reached, which was, the emperor must die. Capitulo 1014, Chapter 735, Prince Yun returns to the capital, Part 3. Only when the emperor dies can the puppets supported by both sides have a further arena to contend for the world. At this stage, it's the Heart Dao that dominates. Their supported puppet has already entered the imperial palace. However, Lin Zaiasu has returned, and the Prince Yun he supports has also unexpectedly appeared. The battle for the throne, with swords drawn, is set to ignite at any moment. Lin Huayang spoke at length, and Yu Ying's large eyes finally blinked. Teacher, the bewildering court situation is laid bare with your explanation. This Marquis Zhu Yi is truly a match only for your wisdom. However, does the wise not sometimes make an error? The current situation is indeed a deadlock. Examining it from usual logic, it is indeed a deadlock. Song Lifu declared under an imperial decree, whether Prince Yun complies or refuses, it spells death. But amidst this, there is room for maneuver, Lin Huayang replied. What kind of maneuver? For example, secretly deploying an assassin to eliminate that person in the palace, Lin Huayang said. If it truly comes to that day, the situation where there is no choice for the throne will reappear. There are only two adult males of the Han family bloodline. One is the new emperor, the other is Prince Yun. If the new emperor dies, Prince Yun, being the sole remaining bloodline of the Han family, would indeed have to be the emperor, no matter how much the courtiers oppose. It would be futile unless you overthrow the Grand Dominion and completely end the Han family's dynasty. The resistance would be too great. You won't even pass the barrier of the imperial family. Don't ever underestimate the foundational base accumulated over thousands of years by a dynasty. Yu Ying's expression changed. With him, is it possible? With his current cultivation, the possibility is almost zero, but don't forget he just descended from Kangyuan. Kangyuan is the truly unpredictable place. Lin Huayang raised his eyes, looking at the sky. Kangyuan, he has Kangyuan behind him, but on the court side, Heart Dao is also behind them. Yu Ying said, can Heart Dao stand by and watch? Heart Dao, Lin Huayang murmured. Perhaps this is not just his chance, but more so my chance. Kangyuan, only Kangyuan. Without Kangyuan's intervention, how can Heart Dao be extinguished? Yu Ying sighed lightly. Perhaps only Yu Ying understands the teacher upon the earth now. I only hope this flame burns more fiercely, but in earthly affairs, 9 out of 10 times things do not go as intended. A mere dynasty might not be enough to provoke the top 2 giants to fully engage. Indeed, the ownership of a mere great wilderness dynasty won't stimulate that person. Perhaps I can meet with him again, be fellow travelers for a time at Bai Shan residence. No one knows who he refers to with that person in his words. But evidently, the he in his words is Lin Zaiasu. He wants to incite a fierce confrontation between Heart Dao and Kangyuan. He wants to annihilate Heart Dao. No matter how he and Lin Zaiasu may proceed in the future, at least on this matter, They can be fellow travelers. Then they can sit down and talk. With Lin Huayang's wisdom and Lin Ziasu's peculiar situation, perhaps there's indeed a chance to carve out this unprecedentedly enduring epic. In the marketplace, everyone is discussing whether Prince Yun will accept the decree. In officialdom, they advance a step further. Everyone agrees on one view, that Prince Yun would be foolish to accept the decree. His rebellious nature has surfaced, backed by Kinkyu. Using Kinkyu's power to resist imperial authority, the victory is uncertain. Who in their right mind would accept the decree and send themselves directly to the chopping block? Thus, only one outcome remains. Song Lifu fails to complete His Majesty's mission and will be expelled from the court. The result is a whale falls, giving rise to all things. The position of Minister of the Ministry of Justice is vacant. He has a whole line of people without protection, slowly rendering it vacant, who will share the empty positions. In front of Prime Minister Li Lai's mansion, the flow of people is nonstop. The officials he promised, from third-rank vice ministers to seventh-rank assistants, the list alone fills a lengthy page. No one expected. One day after Song Lifu left the capital, news came back. Prince Yun is set to enter the palace the next day under the decree. Just a short piece of news. The Prime Minister stared in a daze for a full half-hour. The decree issued by His Majesty limits entry to the palace to meet the Emperor within 3 days. Otherwise, severe punishment. This was itself a huge trap, and the one trapped was obviously not Prince Yun, but Song Lifu. Yet Song Lifu's mission to Kinkyu was completed successfully. He did not transgress time limits, nor did he violate the holy decree. Prime Minister, albeit Prince Yun has long been in the military, he is not foolish, is he? The Minister of Rights below said. Li Lai's gaze slowly rose, staring at the sky, unmoving for a long time. The Minister of the Ministry of Industry spoke. Since he agreed, then there is only one possibility: Kinkyu might risk a strike. There are 3 in the state of holding from Kinkyu, Li Lai said. Marquis Zhu Yi himself can withstand the state of holding, and that is 4 in total. Are there other variables? Marquis Zhu Yi has visited Lei Tianlin, Du King said. Good, 5 people, Li Lai said. Has there been any movement from Huo Gang? No noticeable movement, Du King replied. Are the 4 heavenly elders under your control? Du King said. The 4 elders are loyal only to His Majesty. Whomever holds the imperial seal they follow. Very well, Li Lai said. Then let this Prime Minister anticipate his move in the Golden Hall. Everyone's eyes lit up simultaneously. So long as Prince Yun makes a move in the Golden Hall and attempts a risky strike, then let them be captured in one go, including Prince Yun, including Marquis Zhu Yi, including the top experts of Kinkyu. Once and for all, eliminate this major trouble. Then the entire great wilderness would truly become their paradise. The following day, thunder and lightning. The wind blew, bringing bursts of chill. The rain poured, washing the blue stone clean. On the upper floors of the tavern, countless people crowded near the windows, staring at the street outside. Capitulo 1015, Chapter 735, Prince Yun Returns to the Capital, Part 4. Waiting for a historical moment. Today, Prince Yun enters the palace. As noon approaches, the sky becomes more fierce with lightning and thunder, seemingly foreshadowing today's sword light and shadow. A group of yellow-robed servants move through the streets, heading to the return to the capital platform outside the city. This confirmed the rumors. Today is indeed Prince Yun's return to the capital. The yellow-robed servants have just passed when an umbrella opened up on Vermilion Bird Street. Under the umbrella is one person, gracefully appearing, dressed in the Marquis Zhu Yi's clothes. Marquis Zhu Yi, is he really walking alone? Someone exclaimed. This Marquis's actions are free and easy, never keeping any carriage, and he once said, "What use is keeping such a thing except for show? With that spare money, it's better to buy a few more clothes for the girls at home." This Marquis is truly the most down-to-earth Marquis of all time. Amidst the chatter from all sides, Lin Ziasu stepped into the street. From the restaurant, countless eyes were sent off for him. In a room facing the street, 2 women's expressions were somewhat unusual. One of the women is Chang Yi. In her eyes, there seemed to be a hidden glimmer. The other woman, much older though dressed ordinarily, seemed to have an inherent aloofness of someone in a high position. She is the elder of the Tao realm of the Wandu sect, named Elder Zhu Feng. Her specialty, of course, is poison skills. She claims she can embroider in the wind, naturally embroidering the flower of death, Wherever the flower blows, it is a purgatory on earth. This man's charm can indeed captivate the women of the world. Elder Zhu Feng said. You have met him twice. Do you feel anything different? Chang Yi looked at Elder Zhu Feng. What does the elder mean? Just giving you a reminder. Whilst getting to know him can indeed reveal some intelligence, it is best to avoid getting too deeply involved. Too deeply involved, Chang Yi said lightly. What does the elder think this disciple, with her body imbued with poison, can have how deep of an involvement with him? The elder smiled. Do not misunderstand my intentions. Precisely because you are of a body imbued with poison, you are not suited for deep involvement. If it weren't for the peculiarity of your body, I would never oppose you delving deeply. I understand, Chang Yi nodded. For our sex affairs, the goal is the foundation. If the body can fulfill the mission, no one would resist, and as the disciple's body is special, once he breaks through the door, he would know the disciple's identity. Chang Yi is indeed worthy of being the trusted disciple of the sect leader. Choosing to engage through poetry and music is the most ingenious method, the elder said. This elder, although of high rank and power, Chang Yi's status is not beneath her, being the sect leader's direct disciple, and having successfully completed a mission brilliantly the last time she went down the mountain, she was highly valued by the sect leader. Engaging through poetry and music suits his tastes, but to extract deeper secrets, I'm afraid it won't suffice, Chang Yi pondered. Perhaps next time the disciple should try a new approach. What kind of approach? The disciple can feel that he has some improper desires towards the disciple, and this person is extremely generous towards the woman he is determined to be with, perhaps. She did not say the rest of the words. The elder understood. You can attempt to let go of the body's restraints, allowing him to do as he pleases, just guard the final barrier of the profound gate. Give him the illusion that acquiring your body is just one step away. Chang Yi slowly nodded. Outside the city at the return to the capital platform, the yellow-robed servants are lined up. Lin Ziasu enters the pavilion under his umbrella. This is the entire lineup to welcome Prince Yun's return to the capital. It can't be considered strong, but it is absolutely in accordance with etiquette. For officials of high rank and power returning to the capital, ministers gather to greet them, which is certainly grand. But how can ministers compare to the imperial family's personal entourage? In terms of rank, who can compare to Marquis Zui? With these two factions, it is enough to demonstrate the court's respect for Prince Yun. That suffices. The clouds in the sky move, and a moon-shaped ship tears through the air. On the ship are two people. One is Prince Yun, dressed in royal attire, and the other is his concubine Fu Feng. The moon-shaped ship lands and transforms into a moon-shaped hairpin, hiding in Fu Feng's hair. Prince Yun has arrived. Lin Ziasu greeted with an umbrella. Welcome, Your Highness. To have Marquis Su personally welcome me, how fortunate I am. Prince Yun also returned the courtesy. When this Marquis returned to the capital in the past, His Highness personally welcomed me. With His Highness humbling himself to receive me, how could this Marquis not come? The warm exchange followed, with no anomalies at all. The yellow-robed servants greeted. Your Majesty has an edict. Please have Prince Yun enter the palace. Prince Yun nodded slightly. Is Marquis Su entering the palace too? Your Majesty has summoned all officials above the 5th rank today. Naturally, this Marquis is also among them. Then, shall we go together? After you, Your Highness. The two of them boarded the dragon carriage together, entering the desolate capital side by side. In the restaurant above, there was much discussion. He really came. Would he dare not come? Your Majesty has issued a royal decree. Some had a complex expression. This entrance to the palace is probably. Once these 6 words were uttered, countless eyes focused on him, and he immediately stopped speaking, lowering his head to sip tea. Almost everyone suspected what would follow Prince Yun's entrance to the palace, but these words couldn't be spoken recklessly. In the Wenling Hall, court officials gathered in numbers. Nearly all officials above the 5th rank in Beijing were present. There were 1,000 attendees. Lin Weiyang arrived. He was a 4th rank official standing in the back row. Lei Tianlun arrived. Though he had been too ill to attend court today, he was here as a 1st rank official, occupying the front row. The Prime Minister, Li Lai, paid close attention to him, but no matter how alert he was, he could not detect anything unusual about Lei Tianlun. Zhang Lifu arrived, standing in the 2nd rank official column, his face showing neither joy nor sorrow, which was his habitual expression, especially since the new emperor took the throne. No one could hope to find a hint of emotion on his face, as if he was encased in a shell. The several chief of staff beside him were quite excited, although it was unclear what they were excited about. Your Majesty sat upon the golden hall on the dragon throne. Today he was in formal attire, wearing a heavy crown. Behind him stood the commander of the Forbidden Army, Zinju. The three-tiered steps in front of him were particularly empty today. These steps were reserved for princes, who occupied the position between Your Majesty and the ministers, belonging to the seated echelon. And now, this echelon had no seats because no seats were needed anymore, as there were no more princes in the capital. Announcing Your Majesty, a voice came from the doorway. Prince Yun Hong Yun Marquis Zui Su Lin await the decree outside the hall. Summon them, Your Majesty replied in a deep voice. Prince Yun Hong Yun Marquis Zui Su Lin enter the palace to meet the emperor. The palace gates opened, colored flags fluttered. Two figures dressed in formal grand attire approached step by step. Arriving outside the hall doors slowly opened. Behind them, torrential rain poured down. Before them lay a long corridor. On both sides, the court officials gently bowed as Prince Yun Hong Yun walked step by step. He passed through the ranks of the 5th rank officials, through the 4th rank, through the 3rd rank, straight to the 1st rank. On the golden hall, Your Majesty rose and descended step by step. Their eyes met, drawing everyone's gaze. Brother Emperor, today's meeting feels like a lifetime ago, Your Majesty spoke. As those words left his mouth, the Prime Minister Li Lai's face suddenly darkened. Your Majesty, this script today was meant to establish authority, and at this first meeting you've descended from your high platform and spoke first without waiting for the other to bow to you. This is not what I taught. Indeed, who can say it is not so? Prince Yun sighed, filled with endless melancholy. Beside them, the chief eunuch's eyes widened. If it were his usual temperament, he would sternly rebuke. Bold Prince Yun, why do you not kneel upon seeing Your Majesty? But recalling the ordeal a few days ago, left him with lingering fear. It was for uttering that very phrase that he was beaten to the point of having his leg broken. Though the injury was treated with spiritual medicine and the leg gradually healed, the trauma in his heart remained. Your Majesty extended his hand, pulling Prince Yun up to the high platform. Everyone below was shocked. Many eyes turned to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, this script was your design, wasn't it? What's happening? Where is the decorum? The worship? The establishment of authority? Why is there only the display of grace and benevolence left? Playing the family card, showing Your Majesty's mercy. This is possible, but the basic laws of the court should still be respected. At least establish authority first, set basic rules for ruler and ministers. The Prime Minister Li Lai was full of confusion. Only he knew that he hadn't designed such a script. However, this autonomous behavior of Your Majesty couldn't be forcibly altered now. I hope this handshake is only meant to send Prince Yun to the second-level platform where he belongs, and nothing more peculiar occurs. On the platform of the second step, Your Majesty halted. Thank goodness, that fool didn't create a big problem. Just as Li Lai slightly relaxed, Your Majesty slowly turned around, facing the courtiers. Today, as the Emperor of Dahuang, I have important matters to announce. All courtiers will remember this solemnly. As decreed, with a loud thud, everyone knelt down simultaneously. Except for one, Prince Yun standing beside him. Your Majesty said, on the day of Prince Jai's death, both my 7th imperial brother and I suspected that Heart Dao and the Wandu sect would eliminate all the princes. In order to preserve the usefulness of my 7th imperial brother, I set up a strategy, allowing him to feign death and enter Kinkyu, quietly observing the changes in the Dahuang court. The entire hall shook violently. The Prime Minister Li Lai suddenly raised his head. His face instantly turned a dark blue. Lei Tianlin and Song Lifu exchanged looks, both seeing disbelief in each other's eyes. They did not know the deepest card Lin Ziasu held. The issue was with the Emperor himself. They considered every possibility today, contemplating what means Marquis Zui might employ, but never anticipated that the breakthrough, the turning point for everyone's fate, lay with the Emperor. Prince Yun's feigned death was not only Marquis Zui's arrangement, but also Your Majesty's plan. The purpose was to preserve usefulness and quietly observe changes in the court. Logically, this was the most reasonable option. The poisons of the Wandu sect were indefensible. Hart Dao's methods were equally unguardable, since they couldn't be prevented. Why not use a substitute to withstand the danger of assassination, while the true self observed the unfolding situation from outside? Your Majesty's voice continued. As expected, it is just as we and the Seventh Imperial Brother anticipated. The Seventh Imperial Brother's substitute was killed, and the other 4 princes were all slain. However, what I did not expect was that their treacherous hearts were so aligned that they dared to commit regicide. Father Emperor was murdered by their conspiracy, and I became a pawn in their hands. To protect our Han dynasty's lands, I feigned cooperation with them, all to await the return of the Seventh Imperial Brother. As soon as these words fell, Prime Minister Li Lai's forehead was drenched in sweat. Completely out of control. Entirely out of control. Well played, Hong Yang. I thought you were a pushover, but who would have thought you had such scheming? Today, all high officials in Beijing are present. By saying this in public, do you still intend to be the emperor? Your Majesty said, now that the Imperial Brother has returned, the mission of this Imperial Brother ends here. The throne of the Great Wilderness is formally abdicated to the Seventh Imperial Brother Hong Yun. Your Majesty, Li Lai shouted dramatically, you must not, absolutely must not. His voice was extremely high-pitched. The sound shook the entire hall. The ministers were shocked and collectively bowed, intending to follow the Prime Minister's lead. The Prime Minister is their ruler, and they have long sensed the blissful future of dominating everything. Who wished for any trouble at this moment? With the Prime Minister saying that, suddenly, the entire court was aroused. However, on the high platform, Your Majesty abruptly turned around. Li Lai, you traitor! Murdering the Emperor and seizing the throne, you are the mastermind. I intend to restore order today. Do you still wish to obstruct? With these harsh words, the ministers who were about to follow up were completely silenced by this bombshell thrown by His Majesty, murdering the Emperor and seizing the throne. Oh heavens, did the Prime Minister really do this? If so, the court today is about to experience a bloodbath. At this moment, the most sensible choice is not to take sides. Li Lai's face was twisted with rage. Your Majesty must be controlled by the evil technique of the Kinkyu Fox clan to say such nonsense. Great Commander, kill the traitor and relieve His Majesty's crisis. The evil technique of the Kinkyu Fox clan. The minister's heart skipped a beat. Could it be true? Indeed, it somehow seemed plausible. How could such a scene occur amid the prince's struggle for succession, using all means necessary? Clearly, the throne was already secure, yet it was being abdicated. The Kinkyu Fox clan, an ancient great clan with deep foundations, who knows if they possess such evil magic? With a swoosh, a tall figure suddenly appeared in front of Prince Yun. Lo and behold, it was the great commander He Xinju. He extended his hand, striking at Prince Yun. As it seemed Prince Yun was about to be struck dead, suddenly, a person appeared before him. This person was even taller, clad in golden armor, as imposing as a heavenly god. Huo Gang, the Prime Minister Li Lai's face dramatically changed. Whoosh! Huo Gang struck with a palm. Palms clashed with He Xinju, and the golden hall erupted with a bang. Countless bricks flew up. He Xinju was sent flying high, his expression also changed. In midair he drew his blade. Bold Huo Gang, daring to enter the deep palace without decree, are you rebelling? Huo Gang was formerly the commander of the Forbidden Army, but after the new emperor ascended, he was expelled from the palace, theoretically no longer qualified to enter the Golden Hall, and yet today he came. Thus, logically, Huo Gang indeed had suspicions of rebellion. However, Your Majesty coldly laughed. Huo Aching came by my secret decree, and you, He Xinju, you do not follow my orders but instead listen to the traitor Li Lai's orders, who truly intends to rebel. In one sentence, the entire hall was shocked. Li Lai's face turned dark. He Xinju flipped his hand, a golden knife appeared in his hand, and he shouted angrily. His Majesty is currently bewildered by the villain's evil magic. Forbidden Army, heed orders. As his voice fell, the golden knife's light shot straight into the sky, transforming into a giant blade shadow, suspended over the Golden Hall. Outside, tens of thousands of Forbidden Army soldiers roared in unison, present. Enter the palace to protect the Emperor. Boom! The palace gates swung open, armored Forbidden Army troops charged in. The entire Wenling Hall, like a small boat in a storm. Song Lifu's face changed. suddenly raising his official seal, but next to him, the Minister of Rights also suddenly raised his official seal, shouting, "Forbidden army, enter the palace, kill the traitor Prince Yun." A chorus of shouts rose, the Forbidden Army's target clear, on the verge of storming into the Golden Hall. Suddenly, an official stepped to the Golden Hall's gate. This person was a fourth-rank official. He suddenly raised his hand, and a ripple seemed to appear in the air. The hundreds of Forbidden Army soldiers at the gate suddenly shook, their eyes wide, slowly collapsing. Those behind frantically pushed in. But as long as they stepped on the last of the 7th-level steps, they all collapsed silently. Lin Huayang, Song Lifu's hand suddenly retracted, taking back the official seal that was in opposition to the Minister of Rights, watching this scene with extreme surprise. Lin Ziasu's gaze swept over Lin Huayang's back, falling into the air. Huo Gang's body expanded over 10 zhang outward, forming the divine magic appearance, and punched towards the commander of the Forbidden Army He Xinju. With a thunderous shock, He Xinju's body exploded. The spinning golden knife fell, Huo Gang's figure lifted, catching it in the void, raising the golden knife, its light bursting forth, his figure rising sharply. 1,000 zhang golden Dharma figure stood outside the hall under the heavens. Forbidden Army, heed orders. His authoritative voice, accompanied by golden light, rolled forth, covering the entire palace. 100,000 Forbidden Army soldiers looked up at the once familiar Great Commander Dharma form, and the golden knife representing the command of the commander of the Forbidden Army, all stunned. The golden knife's command: the Forbidden Army unconditionally obeys. Any disobedience, all 9 family generations will be executed. This is the dynasty's iron rule. Not a single step into Wenling Hall is permitted. Any violator, guilty of treason, all 9 generations executed. The Forbidden Army, already outside the hall, stopped collectively. The fierce shouting and killing instantly ceased. The hall full of ministers looked at each other, all with sweat-soaked backs. "Great Commander," Your Majesty said. "At your service," Huo Gang bowed. "Seize the traitor Li Lai." Your Majesty pointed at the Prime Minister, enunciating each word. "As you command." Huo Gang stepped down from the high platform, his massive hand stretching out to grasp Li Lai. With this grasp, everyone in Li Lai's faction despaired completely. Because the Forbidden Army was already under the control of Your Majesty, and the great commander beside him had been replaced by Huo Gang, the great commander of the former emperor. However, under Huo Gang's sharp claws, Li Lai's face showed a kind of madness swirling. "You're forcing me." As the voice fell, the pillar beside him suddenly trembled. A figure appeared out of thin air. Huo Gang's giant claw had already descended, and as the figure slowly lifted its head, it was a pale-faced old man, seemingly ordinary and unremarkable. Yet as his head rose, the entire scene instantly changed. In front of him, the air seemed to transform into pieces of dragon scale, slicing through everything, tearing apart all space. Hidden Dragon Guard, Lei Tianlan's face suddenly darkened. Crash! Huo Gang's claw grabbed into the void densely covered with dragon scales. As if struck by lightning, he flew high and far, straight into the sky, sweeping across the hall top above. Lin Ziasu's pupils contracted, firmly locking onto the person before him. Whoosh! A figure appeared beside him, none other than Song Lifu. Marquis Su, Hidden Dragon Guard leader Long Jai. As the voice fell, the surrounding pillars simultaneously trembled. 18 figures appeared simultaneously, all peeled away from the pillars. Each person seemed to be in their self-defined space. Hidden Dragon Guard, 18 dragon beams, all are holding the way. Song Lifu's face completely changed. "Long Jai," Lei Tianlan shouted loudly, holding the first-grade official seal step by step. "Your Hidden Dragon Guard's duty was to protect the king. Your Majesty has ordered the capture of the rogue leader Li Lai. How dare you shield the rogue?" "Mr. Lei speaks correctly. The Hidden Dragon Guard's duty is indeed to protect Your Majesty," Long Jai said calmly. "However, His Majesty has been enchanted by evil techniques. I must first kill the rogue leader to then remove the evil technique from His Majesty." Lei Tianlan raised his hand and the official seal suddenly enlarged. "Long Jai, you are the one enchanted. I shall suppress you first." As the official seal descended, the entire world transformed once again. In the sky filled with golden light, only one overwhelmingly large official seal, like a mountain toppling, pressed down from above. This is Lei Tianlan's Tao. He integrates the official realm and cultivation path, entering the Tao through the official seal. The first-grade official seal, combined with his cultivation in holding the way, descended from the sky with unrivaled might. However, even though the official seal was strong, it could not press into the Tenjang space of Long Jai, where dragon scales layered densely, like a divine dragon awakening. Long Jai smiled faintly. Since the disappearance of the great wilderness dragon riders, Zhen Heaven Pavilion no longer holds its former might, and you, Lei Tianlin, are the worst pavilion master I have ever seen. As the voice fell, the official seal rebounded, and Lei Tianlin spewed blood, landing far at the corner of the hall. Zhang Lifu's face changed. Second vessel, he must be the second vessel. The second vessel, only the imperial seal can oppose its power. Yet this emperor's imperial seal has only been in hand for a month. The foundation is not yet solid. Can the power of the imperial seal oppose this Long Jai? His heart surged with emotions, filled with endless irony. Ever since the conspiracy began, his greatest hope was that the new emperor's imperial seal could not exert power effectively. Yet today, he hoped the power of the imperial seal was greater. In the past, the hidden dragon guard was the ultimate weapon for protecting the king. But today, the hidden dragon guard has become the greatest crisis for the king. Now all cards are revealed, the opponent is already in a deadlock. If no one can stop the hidden dragon guard, then all outcomes will be written by them. Even allowing Prime Minister Li Lai to become the emperor directly, they could still create an illusion of peace. This is why truth always lies on the edge of a sword. History is always written by the victors. Long Jai stepped forward, stepping onto the high platform. In the distant sky, a roar sounded. Huo Gang wielded the force of thunder, his golden knife smashing onto the high platform. However, Long Jai didn't even lift an eyelid. With a loud crash, Huo Gang was sent flying once more. Long Jai had already stepped onto the first step of the staircase. Under the watchful eyes of all, he ascended the high platform unobstructed. Yet just as he stepped onto the high platform, the black and white hues shifted, and a silhouette clad in snow attire stood before him. Long Jai's pupils contracted, staring at the person in front of him. The person before him, hair moving without wind, flying backward, but standing steadily within 3 feet of Long Jai. Ordinary people might find this normal. But to the hidden dragon guard, the 19 dragon beams, this was incredibly astonishing. For they all knew that Long Jai's dragon-shaking power had already been unleashed. No one below second vessel could approach him within 3 zhang. Strong as Huo Gang, strong as Lei Tianlin, both had tried but couldn't come close. But there was one who appeared, and he could. This person was Marquis Zui Su Lin. Just now, Your Excellency mentioned the great wilderness dragon riders, saying that after the disappearance of the dragon riders, Zhen Heaven Pavilion is no longer the same. I have a question in mind. Lin Ziasu said. Was the disappearance of the dragon riders intentionally done by Your Excellency to weaken the great wilderness's power so that your hidden dragon guard could dominate alone? With these words, everyone present was struck by a turbulent wave of emotions. The great wilderness dragon riders, brought out by the forefather from the great wilderness, established the country, stabilized it with 1,000,000 dragon riders, fearless across the lands. Sects within the territory did not dare defy even a shred. Yet 300 years ago, the dragon riders suddenly met a mishap. His Majesty ordered, hidden dragon guard launched their attack, wiping out the last batch of dragon riders. Since then, the country lost its heavy weapon. The great wilderness gradually declined. Today, Lin Ziasu's words hit the nail on the head, accusing Long Jai of meticulously clearing the 1,000,000 dragon riders to let the hidden dragon guard dominate alone. Long Jai quietly watched Lin Ziasu. Lin Ziasu quietly watched him too. Capitulo 1019, Chapter 736, Even the Emperor Betrayed, Part 4. The air between the two seemed to have been completely torn apart. Marquis Zui, truly extraordinary. 1 sentence, 9 words, and everyone present felt their hearts race. Are you admitting it? Lin Ziasu said. I have never denied personally annihilating 1,000,000 dragon riders, but it was by the direct order of His Majesty back then. In the annals, only the great achievements of the hidden dragon guard are recorded, and it is not up to a mere marquis 300 years later to decide history. It doesn't matter, history is written by the victors. Lin Ziasu said, I will ensure the historians engrave the shame of your Dragon Ridge's ancestors and descendants into history, to tell the world that since your Dragon Ridges became a chief long, this hidden dragon guard has become a Heart Dao minion. Upon these words, Song Lifu's eyes suddenly brightened, and Lei Tianlun and Huo Gang's expressions changed simultaneously. Standing at the hall's entrance, Lin Weiyang took a deep breath, and on her pale face a hint of blush emerged. The victors. They heard that word. Haha, the victors, Long Jai laughed. Marquis Zui, who do you think today's victor will be? Lin Zai Asu also laughed. You would never have imagined that ever since learning of the self-destruction of martial arts in the great wilderness and the purge of 1,000,000 dragon riders, I've been waiting for a chance to unveil this generation of the hidden dragon guard. The opportunity has arrived, Long Jai asked. It's today. I must admit, Marquis Zui is incredibly clever, often coming up with surprising ideas. However, throughout history, to truly achieve one's goals requires power, absolute power where there's no use for cunning. Haha, Lin Zaiasu laughed skyward. Absolute power, do you have it? Watch. As soon as Long Jai's voice fell, he pointed a finger. With that finger, the dense dragon scales around him seemed to all become real dragon scales. The dragon scales transformed into a dragon claw, pointing straight at Lin Zaiasu's forehead. From a bystander's perspective, it was the majesty of a true dragon. It seemed that Lin Zaiasu would be crushed like an ant by the true dragon's claw. Suddenly, a yin-yang Dao circle appeared out of thin air. As soon as the yin-yang Dao circle appeared, the dragon claw shattered, scattering into countless disordered dragon scales. In front of Lin Zaiasu appeared a beautiful woman, full of allure, standing proudly in the wind. Yin-yang fish, Long Jai's face changed. Is it Hu Jai, the legendary figure of Kinkyu? At the time, I wasn't considered a legendary figure. Nowadays, I barely qualify. Hu Jai smiled faintly. Come on. With a light sound, Long Jai and she disappeared simultaneously. From the sky came an urgent order from Long Jai. Hidden Dragon 18 beams kill. Whoosh! 18 human figures soared into the air simultaneously. With this flight, the entire Wenling Hall's walls were completely destroyed. 18 path of chi mechanisms, all targeting the high platform, with the prey being not only Prince Yun, but also the new emperor. However, between these 18 and the high platform, there was one person, Lin Zaiasu. Lin Zaiasu let out a cold laugh, seeking death. Drawing his sword. As the sword light arose, the time and space before him completely stilled. SSS. 9 blood flowers blossomed simultaneously. With a single sword, 9 great holders of the way were killed, and the once renowned hidden dragon guard's 18 dragon beams lost half of their number under his hand in just one strike. Bang! A giant fist descended from above, and another blood flower blossomed in the air. Huo Gang made his move. Whoosh! The official seal sword, Lei Tianlun seemed to stand at the pinnacle of a towering government office, a massive official seal crushing one of the holder dragon beams. The remaining 7 holder dragon beams abruptly flickered, releasing an endless rule power, as one was smashed again by Huo Gang, and another was jointly killed by Song Lifu and Lei Tianlun. However, 3 rushed onto the high platform, 3 heavenly blades slashed down, accompanied by a mournful dragon's wail. Prince Yun's face had already changed. He felt the sensation of having his life hanging by a thread. At this moment, a red spider lily suddenly bloomed in front of him. The enchanting red spider lily inhaled and exhaled, sending the 3 heavenly blades far across the horizon. Plub! Those 3 holders of the way perished, body and soul extinguished. Prince Yun, drenched all over, lifted his gaze to see Lin Zaiasu. Lin Zaiasu stood beside Prince Yun, overlooking the entire hall. Li Lai fixated on him. His hand had already reached for the official seal, but the light of the official seal flickered in and out, having lost the courage to strike. In a swoosh sound, Huo Gang dealt with the last holder dragon beam, appearing in front of Lin Zaiasu. Great Commander, leave this to you. Yes. With a swoosh, Lin Zaiasu's figure suddenly expanded. At that expansion, his body grew 100 feet tall. Behind him, an ancient peak appeared out of nowhere, atop which a visionary figure turned, and with a gentle brush of his hand, 2 human figures appeared in the void directly before him, actively battling Long Jai and Hu Jai. Capitulo 1020, Chapter 737, Hidden Dragon Guard annihilated, Prince Yun ascends the throne. The cultivation levels of these 2 people are so high that they have essentially surpassed what ordinary people can observe. Their battle ascends straight into the deep sky, and the way they fight is completely beyond what ordinary people can imagine. Jai is like a venerable heavenly immortal, with a yin-yang Tao circle isolating heaven and earth. Within the yin-yang Tao circle, Long Jai is covered with dragon scales all over. When the dragon scales vibrate, they tear through the void. Even the unparalleled yin-yang Tao circle is torn apart if it comes within 3 feet of him. Long Jai spins around, seemingly stirring the whole world, and Hu Jai's yin-yang Tao circle is annihilated inch by inch. Her face changed, the apex of the second vessel. 3 months ago, she lost her body and followed Lin Ziaosu into the heavenly fox realm, choosing the cultivation path. She obtained a drop of blood from the Tianhu ancestor, greatly advancing her cultivation, and had already developed 2 Tao fruits, with the third one still a hair's breadth away. If all 3 were complete, formally entering the second vessel, she could sweep away all others at the second vessel level. But she was just that one step short. Even though she hadn't formally entered the second vessel, she was full of confidence, because in her logical understanding, she was invincible throughout Dahuang country. However, she never thought that Long Jai, the leader of the Hidden Dragon Guard, was also only a step away from the third obsession, and could even be considered to have taken half a step past it. As a result, she could not defeat Long Jai with a wave of her hand, and their true combat strength was at par, or even slightly inferior because she seldom battled, whereas Long Jai was a seasoned warrior who single-handedly slaughtered through 10,000 dragon riders back in the day. But when Long Jai turned around, he was equally shocked, because his 18 dragon beams were wiped out completely in an instant. Just like that, he became a commander without an army. Long Jai's hand suddenly lifted, a golden dragon horn appeared in his palm. As the horn was blown, a dragon's roar echoed through heaven and earth. With a rumble, the imperial palace split in 2, revealing a bottomless abyss. Within the abyss, a secret realm manifested. Countless warriors simultaneously looked up. These warriors were clad in armor as black as ink, numbering 1,000,000 strong. 1,000,000 troops suddenly looked up, and a murderous aura dense as the sky descended upon them. Long Jai, from the high platform, Prince Yun shouted, "Do you dare to use the hidden dragon armor army to overthrow the imperial family?" "Hong Yang, Hong Yun, children," Long Jai roared. "Since your Hong family does not care for this land, why not let me take it? Hidden dragon army, annihilate the dynasty, sweep through the desolate capital." Prince Yun stepped into the void, the king's seal in his hand spanning the heavens. "Hidden dragon armor army, your first iron rule is to guard the imperial family. Do you truly wish to rebel today with the traitor Long Jai?" His voice was supremely authoritative, carrying the might of a bloodied battlefield commander of 10 years, as well as the inherent dignity of the imperial family. However, below, 1,000,000 soldiers mounted the 6-winged war eagles with a swoosh. Like a chilling wind rising from hell, the massive army ignored his obstruction, sweeping out unrestrainedly. Prince Yun's face had already changed. The ministers' faces all changed. The entirety of Beijing, from countless tall buildings that could see this scene, all faces changed. They could predict that there would be a conflict in the inner palace today, but who could have thought in the end it would be the Hidden Dragon Guard causing chaos? Heavens, the Hidden Dragon Guard is the imperial family's last trump card. They've always been the last bastion of protection for the imperial family, solidifying the nation's stability, yet now they rebel. Such an army, once it revolts, cannot be controlled. The entire desolate capital, with tens of millions of ordinary people, would likely not escape calamity. The desolate capital was instantly thrown into chaos. "Haha," Long Jai laughed wildly within the yin-yang Tao circle. "Su Lin, weren't your methods extraordinary? What about today? Do you have the power to turn the tides?" In the air, Prince Yun looked down at Lin Ziaosu. Countless pairs of eyes filled with panic were also fixed on Lin Ziaosu, including Lei Tianlin, including Song Lifu. They were all at a loss. However, Lin Ziaosu's face blossomed into a smile. "Long Jai, I must tell you, even though no one else ever regarded the Hidden Dragon Guard as a major threat, I, Su Lin, have been waiting for this trump card of yours, Heavenly Suppressing Team." As soon as the last 4 words were spoken, in the sky, more than 300 warships appeared out of thin air. Each warship was forged of black iron, the body of each inscribed with a large character, Zhen, suppress. Prime Minister Li Lai's eyes went wide with alarm. "Du King, you. I never issued a military order." Quang Lang ignored orders and deployed troops privately. Du King's face was extremely sullen, But rest assured, Prime Minister, these are merely 20,000 ordinary soldiers. How can they block 1,000,000 hidden dragon guard? That's true. What kind of force is the hidden dragon guard? Any single one of them could compare to the Enlightenment realm. 1,000,000 troops, even against the third obsession, couldn't be withstood. Just as Prime Minister Lilai slightly relaxed, a wisp of green light in Lin Ziasu's hand shot straight to the flagship. With a soft hiss, the green light descended from the sky, covering the 1,000,000-strong hidden dragon army surging upward. The frontmost troop instantly turned to green smoke. Long Jai shouted in shock and anger, "All heaven killing array." Lin Ziasu laughed heartily. "Precisely. Back then, I used this array to destroy the Demon Destruction Palace. Today, let's see how this version of the hidden dragon guard, which wears the hide of a sheep but hides the heart of a wolf, compares to the Demon Palace." Long Jai's heart turned completely cold. As the head of the hidden dragon guard, how could he not know his troop's true power? This troop, though strong, was no match for the Demon Palace. The Demon Palace under his command was obliterated in one array, and now his turning card has also fallen into the all-heaven killing array. The situation is troublesome. He cannot allow it to kill freely. Everyone attack the warships, dismantle the all-heaven array. At Long Jai's command, countless silhouettes soared into the sky from the palace, some from courtiers, some from the back palace, others from the city all around from every direction. Capitulo 1021, Chapter 737, Annihilating the Hidden Dragon Guard, Prince Yun Ascends the Throne, Part 2. This is the Heart Dao layout developed over many years, the foundation left in the Great Wilderness. Originally, there was no intention to expose it, but with the all-heaven killing array about to destroy their hope of controlling the overall situation, how much longer can it remain hidden? High up in the sky, Quang Leng was startled. Her 20,000-strong army, forming 108 bases, was already at its limit, with no extra effort to deal with attacks from outside the array. This is Beijing, where indiscriminate killing is not permitted, so the array includes the hidden dragon abyss but does not extend beyond, making the outer defense weak. If these hidden masters attack the array bases, this great array would be abandoned halfway. At this moment, Lin Ziasu let out a long laugh. "I've been waiting for your full exposure. Kinkyu Fox Clan, protect the Dao." The voice soared straight into the sky. In the void, an ancient throne appeared out of nowhere. On the throne were two people, seated side by side. One was the Kinkyu clan leader, the other, the clan master's wife. With a wave of the clan leader's hand, the sky was filled with fox tails, forming an indestructible dam. Countless masters rushed towards the dam, disintegrating into ashes upon impact. Hundreds of elders appeared simultaneously. Hundreds of elites emerged at once. Lei Tianlin wielded the official seal in the air, attacking from behind. Heart Dao masters flying from the imperial palace were turned into a rain of blood. Huo Gang took one step into the air, punching out a separate space where gods and demons cannot cross. In an instant, the battlefield on both sides was overturned. Within the all-heaven killing array, the hidden dragon army turned to ashes en masse. Outside the all-heaven killing array, those hidden Heart Dao experts were eradicated en masse. Long Jai roared, "Su Lin, you deserve to die." A loud crash erupted, shattering Hu Jai's yin-yang circle by brute force, and Long Jai broke through the circle with all his cultivation focused. However, as he broke through, a towering figure appeared in front of him, none other than Su Lin in god and demon form. Although his stature was 100 feet tall, the snow-white Marquis's clothes complemented his unparalleled handsome face, still exuding elegance. "Good timing, I'll kill you first." Long Jai's eyes turned blood-red, his body suddenly expanded 1,000-fold, and as he extended a dragon claw, the entire world seemed to be swept up, with Long Jai grabbing at Lin Ziasu. Countless dragon scales stood upright, strangely flapping up and down. "Great, let's fight head-on." On the ancient peak behind Lin Ziasu, a figure strikingly similar to him leisurely turned. Above his head, a phantom image of Earth appeared. He threw a punch. Boom! Below, Mirror Lake surged with a 100-foot-tall wave, clearing the clouds from the sky. Long Jai let out a muffled groan, retreating 100 miles away. His heart was filled with disbelief. He was actually knocked back by a punch from Marquis Zui. A soft sound echoed and the yin-yang circle reappeared. Hu Jai's long hair flew up with a tint of red on her face. "My dear, yin-yang unification." All right, Lin Zayasu's body suddenly flickered, resembling a black fish. Hu Jai's body swayed, transforming into a white fish. Once the yin-yang fish was formed, it seamlessly aligned. Long Jai's entire body trembled, his face contorted beyond belief. You. Boom! A blood flower blossomed over Mirror Lake, and the once famed chief of a generation of hidden dragons, Long Jai, fell, his essence dissipating, his primordial spirit caught in the chaotic time-space flow, shattered into pieces in Lin Zayasu's sea of consciousness. The next moment, the two reappeared in their physical forms, exchanged a charming smile, and returned to the imperial palace. Their silhouettes swept over the desolate capital, and countless love-struck men and women were completely mesmerized. As they transformed into the yin-yang path, joining forces for a lethal strike, they elegantly passed over the desolate capital, leaving a stunning legend. What kind of immortal couple is this? In a tavern, Chang Yi's eyes were complex as he quietly watched all this. Beside him, an elder sighed. The grand scheme, it settled. Who would have thought it would end like this? The azure glow of the all-heaven killing array remained. The ruins of Wenling Hall teetered on the edge of the all-heaven killing array, about to collapse. Prince Yun stood on the high platform, silently watching the azure smoke rising within the great array below. Lin Ziasu landed by his side. Prince Yun slowly lifted his head. Brother, something is amiss. Lin Ziasu's gaze fell. Everything seemed normal within the all-heaven killing array, except for one corner that was. The azure glow couldn't cover it. Within stood a massive military flag, under which 10,000 men stood as steady as a mountain. This 10,000 must be the strongest batch of hidden dragon guards. A voice rang out. This is a great divine power of the Heart Tao called the Heart Tao Legacy Realm, which can block all attacks. The all-heaven killing array cannot penetrate it either. Lin Ziasu turned to find Lin Weiyang had appeared. Mr. Lin, is there a solution? Lin Ziasu asked. This was the first time he spoke to Lin Weiyang in front of outsiders. The Heart Tao Legacy Realm, derived from the 13 emotions and desires, has a convergence point within the 13 emotions. Once you find this point, you can break it. Lin Weiyang said, finding the convergence point is not hard. The challenge is breaking the Heart Tao Legacy Realm and this point. Lin Ziasu's Heavenly Tao Wisdom Eye activated. Where there was once confusion, the void suddenly transformed into 13 different auras. In a moment, his vision focused on one point. The flag holder's belt. He raised his hand, and a willow leaf from the old willow in the imperial palace fell into his palm. The willow leaf pierced through the air downwards. This leaf came from the one-leaf division of Kangyuan Liu. With a poof, the flag holder's belt was cut in half. The azure glow penetrated through, exposing the last 10,000 hidden dragon guards completely to the all-heaven killing array. They screamed in unison, turning into azure smoke. Lin Weiyang's eyes widened suddenly. He had only mentioned the key point of the Heart Tao Legacy Realm, but hadn't directly told him where the convergence point was. He accurately found it. Moreover, a willow leaf broke through the all-heaven killing array, penetrated the Heart Tao Legacy Realm, shattered the junction point, and ended the entire hidden dragon guard. Lin Ziasu said, Your Highness, the hidden dragon guard was able to form such a profound Heart Tao Legacy Realm, indicating that this team is no longer just the royal guard, but a Heart Tao team. We should act without psychological barriers, Your Highness. Prince Yun took a long breath, naturally. His gaze slowly lifted, overlooking the dispersing smoke below. The floor tiles below were still the tiles of Wenling Hall. However, the walls were empty, and the roof was gone. The ministers were all present, either pale-faced, dumbstruck, trembling, or utterly lost. Boom! As the green light dissipated, the abyss in front closed again, and the hidden dragon abyss where the hidden dragon guard was located returned underground, but there were no longer any hidden dragon guards. Amid countless screams, the imperial palace restored its former appearance, except for Wenling Hall, which was completely destroyed. Everything else remained unchanged. Prime Minister Li Lai leaned against the nearby pillar, appearing elderly and frail at this moment. The 8 chiefs of staff beside him trembled ceaselessly. Several of them had a puddle of urine beneath them. On the high platform, Your Majesty withdrew his gaze from the distant Beijing, adjusting the crown on his head. Today, Wenling Hall has lost its roof, exposing the court to the people of the desolate capital for the first time in history. Just as well, I shall solemnly abdicate in front of the millions of people in the desolate capital. This time silence reigned below. The entire city, as if stirred by a super bomb, was shocked to the core by his words spreading across the city. What? The emperor abdicates, passing the throne to Prince Yun. Why would such a scene unfold? What did the battle in the Deep Palace just now signify? If Prince Yun triumphed and seized the throne, it would be a usurpation, not an abdication. Was he forced? Your Majesty's voice echoed. Where is the imperial family? Here. 7 elder members of the imperial family appeared, all covered in dust, but standing straight, the one in the center holding a bronze cauldron, the highest ceremonial vessel of the imperial family. Where is the royal decree? Here. An elderly man with white hair appeared, holding a golden pen in his hand. Where is Prince Yun? Prince Yun strode forward. Here. The new emperor said, in the past, I and my imperial brother devised the plan of feigning death, sending my brother to hide in Kinkyu. The real reason can be revealed to the world today. As I understood, the great wilderness dynasty was deeply infiltrated by the Heart Dao, unable to discern who the traitors were, keeping the 7th imperial brother available for the day he would ascend to great power. Now the hidden dangers are gone. My brother has returned, this throne of all ages. I ask my brother to take it. Bowing in ceremony, presented before millions of people in desolate capital. The eyes of the desolate capital's citizens widened simultaneously. This is not forced. This is a grand scheme. Prince Yun's feigned death was your Majesty's plan of the past. Prince Yun bowed. For the great wilderness to enjoy peace and harmony, your Majesty's contributions cannot be overlooked. Now that your Majesty has ascended to great power, why need abdicate? I, Yun Hongyun, wish to pledge myself to serve diligently, assisting your Majesty in achieving great deeds for generations to come. Declined. Your Majesty said, my brother is magnanimous, not caring for imperial authority, yet witnessing the Heart Dao destroy the various princes, kill the father emperor, while being powerless to act. If in high position, I would be anxious day and night. Hope my brother will take mercy and accept this position for my peace of mind. The citizens were all sighing. The imperial throne, thought to be pursued to any extent, yet today the two standing on the high platform were so magnanimous and benevolent, appearing as if truly in deference. Your Majesty's dealings with the Heart Dao were merely enduring humiliation, the burden for the great wilderness's kingdom and nation. The blame lies solely with the Heart Dao, not with your Majesty. I cannot accept your Majesty's abdication. Declining again. My brother, the weight of the crown heavy as Mount Tai, kingdom and nation, responsibility surpasses authority. I am exhausted and powerless to bear the great hope of billions of citizens. Brother, this abdication is passing the position, passing the authority, and more importantly, passing the responsibility. I, Hong Yang, ask my brother to take this heavy burden to preserve the kingdom and nation, to comfort the spirit of the late father emperor. The whole city was dumbstruck. In this world, who else can say such words? Cheng Yi's eyes flashed with light. Those words, how come they sound like he's speaking? Is this abdication drama also being directed by someone named Lin? In a room next door, an old man sighed deeply. Abdicating the throne is passing the position, passing the authority, and more importantly, passing the responsibility. Well said, beautifully said. Regardless of which of them becomes the emperor of the great wilderness, both are a blessing to the great wilderness. On the high platform, the clouds swirling and the wind flying, as if the heavens and earth sensed this monumental historical event. Prince Yun breathed a long sigh. With your Majesty speaking so, how can Hong Yun respond? If not accepted, could I not dare to face the daunting responsibility of the great wilderness? The intent of your Majesty, Yun accepts. The words of your Majesty, Yun remembers. The responsibility of great wilderness, Yun shall bear. Your Majesty was overjoyed. He stepped forward, removed the crown and placed it on his head personally. Took off the imperial robe. The elder of the imperial family personally put it on Prince Yun. The final step, the imperial seal. The royal decree wrote the abdication decree, stamped with the imperial seal. Immediately the platform was aglow. The imperial seal was placed on top of the bronze cauldron. Step by step walked towards Prince Yun. Prince Yun raised both hands to receive the imperial seal. His gaze swept over the layered tall buildings of desolate capital, swept over Lin Ziasu's face. His eyes were infinitely complex. Of all the present, only he knew. The imperial brother Hong Yang who abdicated the throne before him was not Hong Yang, but a clone of himself, Su Lin. His clone has obtained the throne. His methods were displayed thoroughly in the fierce maneuver just now. If he wished to be emperor, he could clear all obstacles and justly take this throne.